It is time for another episode. Yet another episode. It seems like there's infinity episodes. It's like
There's
the infinity gauntlet of episodes. It's like, except I only have like 3 fingers. It's like the RageSelect podcast, the Dojo, Sequential Saturday, and like sometimes there's the Asylum on the 4th finger, but that last one used to be the Super Awesome Video Game Show, but now it's just dark. So,
yeah.
Or puppet intros. Now it's 6 fingers. Okay, this metaphor is out of whack.
Yeah, this metaphor lost track pretty quickly.
Welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast. It's the thumb of the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm Jeff.
And I'm like,
It's because it does all the heavy lifting. It has to, you know.
I guess that's fair.
We had a really weird podcast this week because, like, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I know that I always say it's a really weird podcast. There was no, like, big announcements this week, so it's just bummer news. Like, we got a lot of bummer news to go over. So,
also a lot of rumors, I assume.
Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Because there's some rumor stuff. Nothing,
We'll get to it.
Nothing confirmed is really what we're at right now.
Yeah. But before we get to that, let's see. Michael, last week I watched a bunch of stuff, and it's funny because I watched a bunch of stuff, and I don't want to come out here and be like, the Wonderful World of Henry Sugar. That was good. I liked it. I watched the first episode of that Generation V thing on Amazon. Yeah. It was all right. It was pretty good.
People are really liking that one.
But over the last couple days, what I did do that was a little different was I went to Amazon and I decided that I wanted to sit down and watch Garth Marenghi's Darkplace.
Oh, okay. So you finally saw Darkplace.
Yes, I saw almost all of it. I have one more episode left to go.
It's pretty short, yeah.
Because, it's 6 20-minute episodes, and there's a lot of filler in those episodes.
Well, there's a whole episode where he explains why everything's in slow motion at one point.
Yep.
Because they didn't have enough fucking material.
Well, for anybody that doesn't know, if you've ever seen that meme clip online, the guy says, "I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards." That's from the show. It's like a 2006 or 2009 BBC show, and it's about a fictitious Stephen King style author who in the 80s wrote, directed, and starred in this show called Garth Marenghi's Darkplace. But
it was too much for audiences.
It was too much. They wouldn't release it. But now they're putting it out again. They're remastering it. They're putting it out. He took it out of his basement and he gave it back to them. Oh, you know what? There's like kind of a connection because I was going to make a joke about this. Richard, what's the guy that was...
Yoda?
Yeah. He was in that Henry Sugar movie as one of the doctors.
I didn't realize that.
It's so funny because I've never watched the IT Crowd, so I've never like seen him really in very much before.
I've seen him in like every night. Like, he shows up in a lot of random shit every now and then.
Yeah.
Like he was in that Fable commercial at not E3 or whatever it was, the Microsoft conference thing. He was in that.
He was the giant.
He's the giant in that.
Yeah.
But he's a lot of random characters that you'll see in like a lot of things. But he's a really funny like comedy actor as well.
He is my favorite. He is my favorite part of that show.
He's so funny
because the whole backstory for him is that he's like his like producer, and so he doesn't know how to act. And in the first episode, he has this whole thing about how like, you know, and I said, "I'm not an actor." And he said, "That's all right. I don't want acting. I want reality." And so like in the first episode, they keep having these cuts where he keeps looking at the camera like really briefly, and then there's like a smash, like just a jump cut to him not looking at the camera, like they tried to edit it out.
It's amazing.
Every time
he's
he talks to Garth Marenghi, he's like standing on like a milk crate, so he's like fucking 8 feet tall or whatever.
And he's like trying to be the gruff, like police chief type character.
Yep.
Which makes it that much funnier that he's like not acting, if that makes sense.
And then Matt Berry.
Oh God,
is just. The man is just chewing his words. Like
it's so perfect.
I don't know what this accent or this delivery is that he's giving. And then, of course, the poor woman, it's like they just crap all over the entire time.
She's like psychic.
Yeah.
And they're just giving her shit the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I don't remember, like, because there's a point in the show where they're just like, you start realizing she's not in any of the flashback or like interview sequences.
Yep.
And you're like, why is that? And then they're just like, no one knows what happened to her.
The one thing that I kind of missed that they did in the first episode that they haven't done as much in later episodes is just like every so often someone is just really badly, obviously ADR'd.
Yeah.
Like their line is just complete ADR and it barely matches like their lips.
That part's it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I found out about it because of Chris, because then Chris's wife is like adores Matt Berry.
Yeah.
And we were talking after like a gathering or something. It was either that or a review. And he showed me the sequence where Matt Berry has that singing moment. He has like a musical number.
Yeah. I know what
and
you're talking
I was like, what the fuck is this? And Chris was like, you don't know what the Darkplace is? And I was like, should I? And then he's the reason I found out about it.
I only knew about it because that meme, because it just kept started to show up all over the place like in the last 8 months. So so yeah, it's all on Amazon Prime.
I think I talked about it on this podcast once for like a little bit, but I didn't know how to explain it because it's not a show that's easy to explain.
No,
without like ruining any of it. Because it's like just so insane.
It all takes place in a hospital. They're like doctors, sort of, except that barely anything has anything to do with
medicine.
With medicine.
It's a fucking crazy ass show.
If you like that kind of really wry British humor, like it's very good.
Yes, it's very, very good.
And it's such an easy watch too, because like I said, it's 6 episodes and they're 25 minutes a piece and they've got a lot of padding to them. So yeah, if you're tired of chasing after your Blue Beetles and your Apple TV original shows, you go watch Darkplace on Amazon and have a really weird time.
It's a crazy time. All of its special features are on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
So all of its commentaries are there, and they do all their commentaries in character as well. So you should definitely check those out if you guys have already seen it.
I will. How about you? Did you do anything good? Watch anything good? Play anything good?
I haven't been watching a lot. I started playing Cyberpunk more often. I haven't gotten too far because I keep just doing random side shit.
Yep.
Because it's so easy to do.
It gets you levels, and that gets you power, and that makes it cooler to play.
Yeah, so I'm like, I got a pistol build, so I'm just been pistoling people in the face, and it's been amazing. Outside of that, I started...
Oh, by the way, sorry, just you have to be a little careful with that, though, right? Because I did exactly what you did, and then when I went to go start doing the main story quest, I started to get a little bored, and because the thing is that the way the game wants you to do is they want you to do these incredibly narrative-heavy, like, story missions,
I get it, yeah.
and then go do some gigs in between, and instead I had done, like, 60% of the gigs in the game.
It's so easy to do. That's the issue. But outside of that, I've been trying to lose more weight over time, and so I started messing with my Quest 2 again. Okay. And I discovered a VR app called Supernatural VR, which I kept seeing ads for all over the place, and it's a workout app. Okay. That does like these little. It's almost like somebody looked at Beat Saber and was like, "How can I make that like just straight up a workout thing?" And so it does like a more of like a boxing thing as well as a Beat Saber type thing. Okay. But you have to put your whole arm into it when it comes to like the Beat Saber part of it, because you can just flick your wrist with Beat Saber stuff, but this one's like it like demands that you put your whole arm into like swinging kind of thing.
Shit.
And it's actually really useful. The only issue I have with it is it's a subscription based model,
man,
but that also gives you incentive to force you to keep using it because you're paying for it. But it's like $100 a year, which is like 10. Like
that's not too bad.
Like because it used to be like 20 a month, but apparently like literally like a month ago they slashed it in half. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so I accidentally picked a good time to get into this thing. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun. Like I ended up because the thing about VR is your body tends to forget that it's in pain pretty quickly. Yeah. I don't know why, it just does, because that's what happened to me when I did Gorn. And the reason it's been working for me is because I don't need a lot of space to do it. Whereas if I wanted to play Gorn or this other thing I found called Thrill of the Fight, it's this boxing game, I need space, right? Because there's no like you can't dodge and stuff. Because I tried doing Thrill of the Fight with the stationary option, which is just like the circle around you, and it's like and the game literally tells you. The AI will always stay within the bounds of what your thing is, but the problem is that stationary makes the guy just right up in your face the entire fucking time. So it just becomes like impossible to really box. it's like Punch Out, but less exciting because the guy's actually doing normal boxing blocks and shit.
Oh.
And you're like, oh, this is just tiring because I'm just trying to punch him in the face over and over again. I don't know if I'm doing this correctly.
Interesting.
So yeah, this supernatural thing's been working out so far. I've messed with it for like 3 days now, and it's very easy to get through. So
do you think that you'll? I know that I saw a news story this week about how the Quest 3 is like. It's like on pre-order or something. It's like very close to pre-order.
It's like it's already on pre-order as far as I know. It's like $500 apparently.
Yeah,
and I'm debating it.
Yeah,
but that's only because I barely used my Quest 2 originally.
Right.
So I'm just gonna keep using this thing on this specific app, and then if it falls apart, then sure I'll get a Quest 3 or something.
I've been thinking about PSVR 2. It's the problem that I have with all the VR stuff is that like. Man, I swear to God, I've tried a lot of different ways to record dojos with VR, and it's such a pain in the ass. Like,
it's a massive pain. That's why you don't see a lot of YouTubers using it or Twitch people doing it.
Yeah,
because it's just there's so much work that you have to get in to make it work. Because you're either going to try to stream it onto your computer to then record it off of it. And it could be kind of finicky, or you have a wire attached to your head that's attached to a computer trying to do it, and then you're having a hard time doing the game correctly because you feel like you don't want to turn too fast and have the wire fly out of your head.
Yeah, it also is just like when I normally record for RageSelect, I can look at everything. I can look at the recordings. You know, I can look at all the monitors. Whereas like whenever I do a VR game, I feel like I've just got to hit the record button and then just like pray to the gods of YouTube that something didn't go wrong because I wasn't like looking at everything the entire time. So
that and a lot of the fun of VR stuff. For some people. Is seeing what the person looks like doing the VR stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the harder part of it as well.
Yep.
Because there are some really fun like videos of people fucking around with VR, but not nearly as much as seeing a person flail where they get freaked out from something and then run into a wall.
Right.
Those are really fun to watch.
So what you're saying is that really we need to develop an app for VR. Like the whole point of the game, like it'll look like a game, but the whole point of it is to make people get freaked out and run into the wall. Like no matter how much room they have in there, like we can use the sensor feedback to like have something chase them, and then the only way that they can get away is by running towards a flat surface and then like hack it so that the wall doesn't come up in their viewpoint, and then they just slam into it. It's just like a Penn and Teller game, that prank game that they made.
Exactly. I always think about those old videos especially when VR first started. Like, did you ever see those?
Which ones?
Well, there's one of a guy playing pool on VR, and so he goes, and when people play pool, they tend to lean on the table, and so the guy tried to do that, and then he just fell on his face, because his brain is telling him there's a table there, but in reality there's nothing there. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of VR, that leads us to video games. So yeah, we've got the big misery parade that's coming up. There's a lot of it.
But we're going to start with something a little bit more fun. So this is kind of spawned out of some comments that were made last week from Shuntaro Furukawa about the Switch. This is in an interview with Nikkei, the Japanese stock exchange. This is weird in that, like, it's possible that before the internet that this same sort of information might have floated around, but it was a lot harder to find out. Whereas Nintendo, like, they refuse to talk about what's happening after the Nintendo Switch, but like investors and like people with a financial stake in the company are like, you have to tell us. And some of that stuff has now kind of filtered down.
Well, part of it came down to the fact that, because this is something that I heard from Jason Schreier about other stuff, is that it's a language barrier thing. So before the internet, it was just, you could go to one of these things and the guy would start speaking, and then you're like, I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't write down everything. And even if there was an interpreter, like it could be the same interpreter way it is in a whatchamacallit, the Nintendo Directs. It's a very monotone, and then you just start zoning out. And so they could have said like the most exciting thing ever, and you're like, oh, I don't want to fucking do this right now.
That's why they started putting that snap noise in there, is to wake you up. They're just like, here's what's next, and you're just like, yeah, okay, all right, that's what's next.
Because somebody was wondering, like, how come more gaming journalists don't cover more things in Japan? It's like, because we don't know how to speak to anybody there,
right?
And so we can't do anything that's like hard hitting or rumor or even like that sort, because like there's always news about something going on at X studio kind of thing, so and so came forward and then they explained some stuff. If the same thing happens in Japan, he's like, I have no fucking idea.
So yeah, the big thing here was that when asked, Shintaro Furukawa laid out like the support for the Nintendo Switch. And this is one of those things where it's like, okay, well, you don't have to talk about the Switch 2 because you've now explained the facts. Let me tell you the facts, and then you can make your own decisions.
Yeah.
So the thing is that Nintendo is going to remain focused on the Switch until the end of fiscal year in March 2024. So the end of this fiscal year, which ends in March 2024. And then they said that they have new games through the following fiscal year, March of 2025. Okay, so if there are going to be games that are only going to be coming through the end of 2025, something is going on. Also, I'm sorry, we don't even have to pussyfoot around this. Fucking Bobby Kotick got shown the new Switch. Like, game developers have dev kits. A lot of people
are explaining that they've been shown the magical Switch.
Yes.
Because before it used to be some guy in the back going, I saw it.
Right.
And they're like, that's just old man Majenkins.
Yeah.
Talking about the new Switch that he saw. And then it's like, I did see it.
Well, part of that was from the FTC case, right?
Some of that stuff started coming out.
Talked about that.
Specifically Codex, yes. Codex things came from that specifically.
So, yeah, from everything that we know, it looks like the console will be coming out in the second half of next year.
Possibly.
Almost certainly. Almost 100% certainly. I mean, if we've got dev kits, we've got end of life for the Switch, it's almost completely guaranteed at this point. Just to refresh everybody, from what we know, it seems like the new Switch is going to be on par power-wise with a PS4/Xbox One. It's still going to be dock and then removable like the current Switch. There's a lot of the thing that's really exciting to me is there's a lot of scuttlebutt that it's using up-res technology to get up to 4K.
Oh, okay.
Which the thing is that you could bet your sweet ass that like if Nintendo is going to put up-res technology in their console, it's going to work, and it's going to work well.
Yeah,
like
it's not gonna up-res something that looks terrible.
Yeah,
like they put their all into something usually, even if it doesn't work out. It works, and it's not so much that it doesn't work; it's that it just didn't work the way they thought it would for audiences.
Right.
That's the difference between what they do and like say Activision does.
Yeah. Which like I will never until the end of time, I'll never stop being impressed with Nintendo for like when they announced that new 3DS and that forward camera was going to look at your eyeballs and then adjust the 3D to make it work no matter where your head was. I was like, okay, Nintendo. And then I was like, oh no, it totally does that. Like it totally did that.
That fucking thing worked really well.
Yeah, like in a scary, weird way that I was like, what?
I played a lot more games that way for a bit, but they still made my head hurt.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that I'm really excited about is that it seems like putting that up-res. I mean, we're currently using AMD FSR in the Xbox and the PlayStation 5, but if Nintendo is going to go with it, I don't know. Nintendo spends a lot more time like trying to make sure that everything works and that it's completely behind the scenes and that you don't have to fuck with it and that there's like it just works. Like that's Nintendo's whole design philosophy is moms could buy this without having to fucking look anything up on the internet. They pull it out of the box, they plug it in, and it works. We currently don't have any idea about whether it's backwards compatible. Nintendo has a good track record of backwards compatibility.
It's about a 50-50 rate is the thing with them.
The Wii U could play GameCube games.
Yeah.
The Wii U could play Did we play Wii games?
Yes.
The DS had like a Game Boy Advance slot on it.
It did for a while, and then they made versions without it, and then the 3DS could play DS games.
Right.
And then, of course, the new 3DS could play everything. Could play the original 3DS, and then DS as well.
Yeah. I think that they have a lot of incentive to try to make sure that it's backwards compatible with the Switch.
It would make the most sense because there's so many Switch games out there that it would be asinine to do something like that right now
to make you start over.
Yeah,
yeah.
But they all know full that we're just gonna buy Super Mario again for the 1,000th time. Coming to the new Switch 2. It's brand new, exciting. Super Mario Brothers.
What was the fucking thing?
It's like, God damn it! Okay, here's my money again.
Where it was like, I was reading this article and they talked about how Mario Kart 9 had sold like the Switch version of Mario Kart 9 had sold something like 50 million copies or something like that. Like it's some goddamn ridiculous amount of Mario Karts.
Well, the other thing is that it was attached to a lot of Switches.
Yeah,
is the thing about that Mario Kart game. Most people tend to forget that part.
So,
because when I bought mine, it had it installed, and they usually count those as sales for the game.
Oh, like the pack-ins, the reason that Super Mario Brothers is like the highest selling game of all time because every fucking Nintendo came with one.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people forget that part.
Yeah. Yeah. So get ready, Michael. Now I'm speaking specifically to you. Get ready. I'm going to need you to go sit in front of the GameStop again. Like, I need a Switch too. And I'm too much.
I will never forget that day for the rest of my life.
Michael waited for the Switch. The reason you got Switch games on this channel is because of this guy right here.
And that was before I was on RageSelect.
Damn right.
I just did it for shits and giggles. I was like, fuck it. I haven't done this in a while. Sure.
Yep.
I was there from like 5 in the morning until like 1 in the morning that next day.
Yep.
It was insane.
Yep.
Absolutely insane.
Crazy.
There was a guy there who was earlier than I was. That was the crazier part.
So, okay. Now it's time for the misery parade. Let's go. 5 Ubisoft executives were actually arrested by the French police this week in conjunction with all of the sexual misconduct allegations that came out like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, like 2020, I think.
Good for those cops.
Yep. Some of them
found out they were Templars or whatever the fuck.
These are all former executives because when they did their culling, right, they fired all these people. So then Serge Hascoët guy and some of the other people.
Quite a few people.
Yeah. But good.
No, 100%
this is good. Yeah, I want people to do bad stuff to be arrested, and also I feel like France is a little bit more like, I mean, they're gonna like arrest them. I don't know. I always look at Europe and go, I feel like Europe does a lot of stuff that makes more sense than the way that we do goofy shit over here in America.
Well, they do a lot more sense. They do a lot of stuff that makes more sense, but they have just as many things that make even less sense.
Yeah.
The problem is that we don't know these things because we're not there.
True. Very true. Very true. Yeah, I think that the weirdest thing about this, though, is going to be, depending on how things go, there might be more information that the cops get after these arrests, like interrogations and stuff like that. Also, not a good thing that this happened like the day before the new Assassin's Creed game came out. So
it's an interesting marketing strategy.
Yeah,
I give them that much. I could imagine them, Ubisoft, like a executive coming up to the thing. I am deeply ashamed of everything I've done, but just make sure to buy Assassin's Creed Mirage coming out on the store near you.
Aren't you just exactly describing E3 2021 Ubisoft's like conference that they did?
I think so, actually. Now I think about it.
Fucking
I forgot about that.
Yves came out and was just like, we're all deeply saddened at all the horrible bullshit that has happened in my family-owned company by all my best friends who run this place. So,
but remember, buy Prince of Persia.
But okay, now let's get on with all the trailers. The trailers.
You want to watch
guys.
a just dance sequence?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I don't know how companies. I don't really know exactly how it is that companies die, but like if you asked me of like the big game companies out there, which one's going to be the first one to just implode under its own weight, I would probably say Ubisoft. Because
I would put my money on Ubisoft right now because Ubisoft hasn't made a game that anybody's really wanted in quite some time.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as in like that their games were bad in this past time frame. It's just that they weren't interesting enough that the general public wanted them.
Right.
Because we liked Immortals.
Yeah.
Or Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Oh.
Because that
You're talking about Immortals of Avium.
Yeah,
I was like,
Immortals of Avium was an EA game, so that's different. At least I think it was an EA game. That's the problem. I don't care enough about it to remember. But that was the only game that we found interesting that Ubisoft has done in a long time.
Yeah,
and it's the only unique thing they've done in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they
canceled the sequel.
All they're doing is fucking trying to keep a pirate game from imploding, and then hoping that this Activision sale thing happens.
No,
so they have something.
Michael. Last week you sat here on this podcast, and I told you that the Division 3 is announced.
Oh, that's right.
Don't you sit here and tell me that there are no new
See, this is when they should have announced Division 3.
Yeah.
They should have announced Division 3 as they were getting arrested. Remember the Division 3?
Watch that new weird show that's on Netflix, I guess. Question mark?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
God, I watched the trailer for that thing, and then I realized that it was Jade and Paige were two of the characters in that fucking...
Oh, yeah. You're telling me about that.
God, it was Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon story. And it's like,
a terrible idea.
What are you talking about? Well, it's what's his face? The guy, the producer guy
80 something.
What's that?
I forgot his last name. It's 80 something. Adai Shun something.
80 Shankar. Yeah. So.
Yeah, he. That's going to be one of his biggest misses this time.
Yeah. Next up, I hope you guys are ready to hear about people not having jobs anymore, because I have a lot of those stories.
There's a lot of those this year in general.
Fortnite is cutting 16% of their staff, aka like around 800 people.
It's a lot of fucking people.
It is a lot of people. Apparently, it's not any of the it's about 830 people. It's not any of like the core development people, but it's a lot of fucking people, man. Like now in the rationale, apparently they talked about how this is one of those things. I'm gonna just. Well, I was going to say I'm going to slip into. I'm always fucking salty anti-corpo, Jeff, on this show, but so it's not like I have to change gears to get there or anything.
No, yeah.
But their rationale for this was like, well, we're spending a lot more than we make, so we're going to have to try to balance the books, and the only way that we could figure out how to do it was to lay some people off, and there's stuff that we don't need anymore. Like, they bought Bandcamp unionized. Like the employees of Bandcamp unionized, and then they sold Bandcamp within 9 months or something like that.
Well, I think they're still trying to sell Bandcamp. Right
I thought
now.
they did. I thought they got rid of it.
Last I heard, they were trying to recently, but that was part of them fucking up this badly, because they were just buying things like left and right, hoping it would be a thing that would work.
Oh, okay.
And
no, they're trying to get rid of it.
And that's one of the things, because that was something I saw in a tweet where somebody's like, this is how much money they had and how reckless they were.
Yeah.
Because they bought Bandcamp, they clearly had no plan on what to do with it.
Right.
And then immediately are trying to sell it again.
Yeah.
Or not again, because they bought it first, but they're now trying to sell it because they didn't have any fucking idea what to do with it.
Yep.
And that's kind of the thing that's very, very common with Epic at the moment, is they became the guy who was making so much money that they were walking down the street being like, I want that thing and that thing and that thing, and then getting into fight with other rich people that was spending money on that sort of thing, and that cost them dearly.
I think that actually, we're going to go over it, right? But that the entire industry is contracting. They have pushed this infinite growth model to a point where it's eventually after 5 years of just insanity, kids are not as interested in Fortnite as they used to be.
No.
And so you can't rely on that forever. And now, in the meantime, we saw the figures of how many billions they were spending a year just to give games away on the Epic Game Store, all the games they were fronting to become Epic exclusives. It's funny that we haven't seen an Epic exclusive in quite some time, right?
No. Then they're raising the price of V-Bucks already.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that
They were like, we're doing it because of inflation. Everyone's like, we know goddamn well why you're fucking doing it.
Yeah.
Because you're fucking losing money.
Yep.
And you want more money.
So, yeah, this is a bad look. I think that there were probably other places that they could have squeezed, but they're not. I mean, the one thing I will say is that they're not the only company, right? Where companies left, right, and center. Like we with the Microsoft thing earlier this year, where there was like a thousand people.
If I was still writing, I would have been writing one of these articles a month.
Yeah,
if not every other 2 weeks.
Like
because every time I look up, they're like laid off another giant chunk.
Right,
laid off another chunk. Like it's been one of the greatest years in gaming, but it's been one of the worst years in gaming at the same time.
Yeah,
because a lot of people have lost their jobs. The people who made the amazing, wonderful games that are coming out this year are now just fighting each other to the death for another job.
Yep.
And that sucks because there's so many people who have been let go that the job hunting market is now saturated with a lot of people with a really good experience.
Yep.
It's going to be really hard to really figure out who to hire now. And it's going to be even harder to break into it too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, we talked about that when we talked about the Microsoft divestment, right? Of dumping like 1,000 people into the tech market of Seattle. Like, it can't absorb that many fucking people.
No,
like
it's not fathomable.
Yeah. So
and this is just like the first one of these stories we have, I assume.
Yes. We have quite a bit more. Yeah, actually, we're gonna take a really brief sojourn because we had some news last week that also is about Epic. Apparently, the creator of Hatoful Boyfriend never was paid any royalties for the release of Hatoful Boyfriend Remastered on the Epic Game Store in 2014.
Oh my god!
So yeah,
just for that year in general?
No, from then until now.
Oh well, that's fucked up.
Yeah. So they. Oh no. Sorry. 2021. Sorry, not 2014. 2021.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a really long time. Also, I was about to say the Epic Game Store didn't exist in 2014.
2014 was when they released the like HD edition.
One.
No. This was when they remastered it.
How long has Hatoful Boyfriend been a thing?
Oh God, let's see. Hatoful Boyfriend. I mean, I think this is one of those like early like. Okay, originally released in 2011.
Oh my god.
And then there was the complete edition in 2012, and then there was like an HD version in 2014, and the PS4, PS Vita version in 2015, iOS version 2016, Android version 2016. When 2021 came around and it got put on the Epic Store, it actually got delisted from iOS and Android.
Okay.
But apparently they haven't received any like royalties, and so they were tweeting out like condolences to because some of the people from I'm sorry, that so much of this stuff, so many names to remember.
I get it.
There was a question of the company that the original Mediatonic. So there were a bunch of people from Mediatonic that got let go from Epic, or their partnership with Epic was dissolved. And the creator of Hatoful Boyfriend, who's like a pseudonym on Twitter, was like expressing condolences for the loss of jobs, and then also just like took the opportunity to be like, also, hey, at Epic Games, like I haven't been paid for 2 years, and like I know it's not a lot of money, but I've emailed you guys a whole bunch of times, and like nobody will get back to me.
Yeah, there's no way the sales are zero is the thing,
right? Well, she had said that like. She knows they weren't many, which is the reason she's not like hiring a lawyer or anything, because there's not enough money to bother with hiring a lawyer. But there weren't zero. So
if it's $20, I want my $20 kind of thing.
This one has, I don't know, somewhat happy ending. I don't know how it's going to go, where the Epic Publishing responded saying, we're looking into this and we'll be in touch with you directly. I think this is gonna be a very weird podcast. I think it's a weird fucking world that we live in, where like half the time, in order to get a corporation to just do what they're supposed to, you have to like publicly shame them on Twitter and have enough of a enough people behind you that they don't want to look bad. Like, yeah,
YouTube doesn't fix the thing until they get fucking dragged through Twitter. The Lyft thing with the cat didn't really get any traction until they got dragged all over the social media.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I don't know how wide that was, but I got a bunch of notifications from the Lyft app on my phone saying like, there's a cat missing. and it was recently seen in this area. And I was like, okay, what would you like me to do? And it turns out that it was like...
It was bad. It was real bad.
A dude was going to the vet. He was in a lift. The cat carrier was in the lift. He got out of the lift, and the cat carrier was still there. The driver just started driving away. He's like banging on the back of it, and like the guy just fucking took off with his cat. But then I got like why did I get a notification there was a missing cat if it was like in a guy's car? Like what was I gonna do?
So here, for those who don't, I'm gonna explain part of the story. So for those who don't know, this guy was taking this cat to the vet. So the cat was already sick to begin with.
Yeah,
had it in the in one of the in one of the seats or under the seat or something. Got out to go grab it, and then the guy took off. The guy kept calling the driver. The driver never answered for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then when they finally did, they're like, I have no idea what happened to your cat. And then they said they were allergic to cats, so they would have. And so it's like, but they said they picked up a bunch of people in between that point.
What?
And so they're like, this doesn't make any sense. And so it became this giant fucking thing where he called the cops. And then the cops called the driver. The driver was very said they were cooperating, but they were always like, I have no idea what you're talking. I have no idea what happened to the cat. And then they got Lyft got dragged all over the internet for this thing.
Was the cat a cat carrier?
The cat was in a cat carrier originally. And then eventually it got so bad and so big that Lyft sent emails to every driver. Did what you said, which is
they notified me as just a user
to be like,
there's a cat.
Does anybody know where this fucking cat is? Because we look really bad right now.
Right.
Because before that, the only condolences they said, they're like, we'll give you $20 for your missing item.
No.
And they're like,
come on.
It's not a missing item. It's a fucking cat.
Right.
Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah.
And so... eventually, one of their Lyft investigators, because I don't know what the fuck that means.
What?
They found the cat.
What?
They finally found the cat. It was severely dehydrated, covered in fleas, and no one knows what happened to the cat carrier. So no one knows how this cat ended up in the middle of fucking Austin without its cat carrier.
Okay.
And it's like, what the fuck? And so that's the story.
I was just sitting around my house, and I got an alert on my phone, and it was like, hey, everybody, we're looking for Tux the cat. Where is he? I was like, I don't know.
It was bad.
What do you want from me?
It was really bad.
Are you going to come pick me up so we can go look or something?
The entirety of the Austin subreddit community, because that's how I found out about it. And then, because he was updating there constantly, and then I found it on Twitter.
Wow.
It's just completely swarmed Lyft, and they found the cat.
Wow.
So happy endings, guys.
Cat got found. Speaking of trying to get your royalties / get your money from corporations, this is an interesting story. A bunch of Dragon Age developers, Dragon Age, what's the new one? Dragon Age Dreadwolf, got laid off back in August. And apparently, when they got laid off, this was all in Canada. This is from EA Alberta, I believe, or BioWare Alberta, or somebody in Alberta. Typically, when you get laid off after you've been working in a corporation for a long, long time, you get 1 month of severance for 1 month of pay for every year that you've worked there.
Oh, okay.
So, in this case, though, apparently EA said, we'll give you 2 weeks for every year that you've worked here. And they were like, well, let's talk about this. And they were like, no, this or fuck off. And they didn't. They said that they wouldn't reimburse them for. Usually, when this happens as well, there'll be some allowance for the medical coverage that you would have had during that time period.
Yeah.
And so apparently, a group of these people that were laid off are trying to get a class action lawsuit together to go after EA to get the real severance package.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have a lot of sympathy for this, because the idea that you worked at a place for 14 years and then they're just I don't know you shit, get out of here. That's how it is in Texas. And I don't agree with it, but I live in Texas, and that's how it works in Texas.
Texas is a really bad labor law area.
Yes.
What is the term?
Work for hire.
Work for hire.
Yeah. Texas has no obligation whatsoever to you.
No.
They can fire you for no reason, and they owe you nothing.
Yeah. They can walk in and be like, you're fired, and you're like, for what reason? They're like, who the fuck cares? Get the fuck out of here.
Yep. But it shouldn't be like that.
No, it's not supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
There's a reason a lot of companies come here, unfortunately.
Yes. So, yeah, unfortunately, it seems like of the group that is of the groups that was put together, a lot of people are like, I'm sorry, I can't litigate this with like the holidays right around the corner. I need to just accept what they're going to give me and then like go look for a new job as opposed to fighting for, you know, more, which is going to take some time. I say all this because we got a lot of EA is a real shitbag company news.
I'm shocked, Jeff. I'm absolutely shocked.
I know. All the nice things that they've done for so long for everybody.
Everyone loves Electronic Arts.
Yeah. So, yeah. I wish them the best of luck. I hope they get the money that they want. Did you see, I'm sorry. This is a tangent here. Did you see that shit where Netflix is going to raise their price of Netflix because of the fucking writer's strike?
I didn't know that's what the reason was for it.
That was apparently, I read an article that was like that. That's what they said was like, well, yeah, man, we got to pay people more. So now you got to pay us more. And I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Nah, bro.
I don't want to.
You don't have anything that's worth paying for anymore.
Well,
I can now be a pirate to watch Castlevania.
If they weren't such shitbags about the whole like letting only one person could log in, like I might consider, if my parents could also watch on my Netflix account, I would consider a raise in fees. But
And now Disney Plus is looking into doing the same thing.
Yeah. Did you watch that Loki?
I haven't yet. I haven't had a chance to. I would have brought it up in the beginning.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, because I liked Loki. I liked Loki season 1 a lot. So that's actually one of the ones I would really go into.
Let's see. In other EA news this week, we got the news that so I don't know. You probably know this, but I don't know how many people listen to this podcast know this. But EA's FC24 launched last week.
Yes.
And apparently one of the things that they had in there that was actually available before even the full retail launch was a $30 loot box. A $30 and because it's their FC game, right?
Yeah.
Those boxes contain the people that you put into the slots for your fantasy team for that whole mode. And I don't know if this is a thing or not, but it says when you look like, you know how EA was like, oh, we will tell you like what you're going to get in the box, right? Like this was one of the reasons way that they tried to make it better.
Like the percentage of like chances at things.
Right. So there's some of that stuff here. How do I close this? Close IGN. What the fuck is wrong with your website?
It's because it opened a new tab.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
But like, this $30 pack that there's like you get a gold 90+ player. Your chances of getting that in the most expensive loot box I've ever seen is 5.6%.
Yeah.
And there's just all these videos online of people who are just like actual fans of this game opening these boxes and being like, I got like 18 duplicates and like nothing. Like,
oh my God.
Just got nothing.
That's so fucked.
Yeah.
Now that they've lost FIFA, they're like, we're just going to gouge everyone. I don't give a fuck.
The thing is that it's like, I don't know, man. FIFA's no better. Like, the FIFA organization is evil.
Yeah, but now they don't have to share the money with FIFA.
That's true.
So that's why they're like, fuck it. Go all the way.
Maybe they had to lower the percentage chance that you were going to get 90+ players in order to pay the severance packages for like the 17 people that were gone from BioWare.
I doubt.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like it's again the theme this week is like this shit's getting out of hand. This shit's getting out of control, 100%. Man.
They're always like, well, we don't have enough. We don't make enough to justify a lot of things lately, and then the microtransactions are getting completely out of control.
Yeah. Let's see. This is such a weird story. Hyenas was canceled. And a bunch of people at Creative Assembly were laid off. So Hyenas, you remember Hyenas, I think.
Vaguely. I do remember it, but I only vaguely remember because I keep seeing it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Everyone's been talking about this cancellation.
So Hyenas was I forget what they call it.
It's like a looter shooter or something, wasn't it?
It's like a team-based game. This isn't the one. I want to see the original trailer.
Just put like original trailer because you're getting a lot of actual things about hyenas themselves.
Yeah. This is the announcement trailer. Okay, so you will probably remember this. I have to refresh everybody whenever this game comes up. So the original one of these was like, this trailer is done up like it's Spider-Verse.
Oh, I remember this
like
trailer.
It looked a lot like the way that Into the Spider-Verse looks. It's like a kooky bunch of characters on a weird space station, and they're trying to steal like Sonic the Hedgehog plushies and weird like nostalgic shit. And it's like teams of 3 fighting each other and fighting through this environment where they've got like a kind of a 0G mechanic and these weird characters and this crazy like art style. And like, Michael, I love the way this trailer looks. Like,
that was a great looking trailer.
This trailer looks really cool. And I think that this game looks interesting. Well, a few months back, they had an actual gameplay trailer. And then when you look at the gameplay trailer, it's just none of that Spider-Verse stuff was. That was all done for the original trailer. It looks like garbage, like, or it's
generic Overwatchy type idea.
Yeah,
I guess that's being generous.
And like the big thing seemed to be that there's going to be 0G. They were going to do these like kind of battle royale or PvPvE.
There's a lot of goop stuff.
Yeah,
like that was kind of in the trailer, but less creative than it was in the trailer.
Yeah. And then there's all this kind of weird like nostalgia stuff where you're trying to like the money, like what you're trying to get in for money is like Sonic stuff, like Sega branded weird
Sega branded
stuff,
merchandise.
So anyway, I think that this looked. I honestly think that this game looked bad.
It didn't look very good,
and
at best.
I mean, like the thing is that if it looked like what it looked like in the original trailer, if it looked like a game that had the art style of Spider-Verse, where they somehow managed to make like a fake version of that kind of sketchy neon looking thing, that would be interesting. That would be something different. But when you actually see the trailer, it's just like, well, this just looks like, I don't know, like a lot of other stuff. So
it was a game that a lot of people weren't clamoring for at all. Like even when it first got announced that it was getting canceled, there was a lot of people being like, "Oh, I forgot that was A, going to happen,"
right?
And B, even though the ones that remembered were like, "Oh, thank fucking Christ, this got canceled."
Yeah.
Because no one had any interest in it.
Well, they also had a closed beta test just in September, like in early September. So
I didn't even realize that.
Yep. Sega blamed the economic downturn in Europe and lower profitability from European business, and basically said that they were looking to cut costs. Again,
according to a lot of news stories, it was one of the most expensive projects at Sega.
Really?
Yeah.
That
thing was one of the most expensive projects of the entire company.
How?
I don't know.
It just looks like a first-person shooter. Like the art style is fine, but it's not like, I don't know, unless it's one of these things where they just like, it's been in development for 8 years and they just kept dumping money into this pit.
I have a feeling that's closer to the reality of what happened.
Because Creative Assembly, I mean, like, what, they're Total War?
Yeah, they're mostly the Total War guys.
Alien Isolation.
Like, they're not known for something like this type of game.
Yeah.
Which was one of the reasons I think it needed to be canceled and why people weren't all that interested to begin with.
Did they do the first Space Marine? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
I don't think so.
Shogun's Total War, Alien Isolation, Total War. No, mostly Total War. Mostly Total War and Alien Isolation, and some ports from back in the day. So, yeah, I don't know. I would be interested in finding out like a deeper dive about this, because as an avid watcher of what happened, like I know that sometimes this shit happens because like the higher ups at Sega were like, we need a battle royale game. Like, you guys go make a battle royale game. And they're like, sir, we don't know how to do that. And then they waste a lot of time and money trying to figure it out. And then it gets canceled. And then it like mucks up a studio.
So this is a Kotaku article where they asked some developers about it.
Yeah.
And they were basically saying it got canceled. A lot of it came down to lack of direction.
Yep.
They didn't know what they were doing with it.
Yep.
And according to them, it's the most expensive game they were ever going to make for Sega.
Yeah.
And even beating like stuff like Shenmue, which cost a lot.
Yeah.
Because Shenmue was like what one of the Shenmues was like in the 70 millions. So if you pass that, then you've really fucked up.
The thing is that I just can't help but look at what Creative Assembly has done over the years, and then look at what this game was, and think that it's like somebody told them to do this.
1,000%.
Like this was not their idea to be like, oh, the guys that make the tactics game, like the the fucking war game about Rome. Oh yeah, let's have them make a fucking punk rock space 3v3v PvEv, like extraction shooter.
Apparently they did an engine change midway too.
Oh God, that's always a death knell as well.
His leadership was asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
See, that's fucking insane.
That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, that is.
Here's my favorite part. Hyenas was greenlit in an effort by Creative Assembly's management to create a console shooter with broad appeal. Repeatedly, the studio management directly named Destiny and PUBG as an inspiration.
Oh God,
yeah. They had no fucking idea what they wanted.
Yeah, you know what though? Okay, listen, I want to be not charitable is the wrong word, but like I just remembered because RageSelect is 10 years old, and I was doing this before that. This is just what happens. Like we're in the squeeze right now. Like remember all the MOBAs, right?
Yeah.
All the Transformers MOBA, the Dead Island MOBA, like all the MOBAs.
A DC one at one point.
Yep. And then 7 years before that, you remember all the MMOs?
There was 1,000 MMOs.
A lot of MMOs out there.
There's a lot of these. There were a lot of MOBAs, and then there were a lot of attempts at battle royales.
Yep.
And that has finally died down too.
A lot of military first-person shooter clones that came and went. It's like I feel like it's just we're seeing. It sucks because people lose their jobs, and that blows, especially in this fucking economy. Like that's
so much worse now than it was before. Because in those times, the gaming world was able to get away with a lot of more shit. I feel like than they can now.
Yeah, smaller teams, smaller budgets, like and an economy that was better. That like okay, you lost your job doing Gotham City Imposters, right?
Yeah.
Like you could go find another job somewhere else.
There were a lot of Xbox Arcade type small games like that.
Yeah.
That were just people were hiring constant amounts of teams to make these smaller games and smaller budgets that had something attached to it that made them bigger. Like you said, Gotham City Imposters is a great example of that one. Same with a lot of those weird movie games that were made for the Xbox Arcade.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Those were all very small, but they were constantly hiring. Not really the case nowadays. We've entered the same issue movies have been having for a while, which is there's not a lot of mid-tier games the way they used to be.
Sure.
There's not a lot of mid-tier movies as well.
Yeah.
So it's either a lot of really fun indie stuff that if you're lucky can break through, or you have your fucking super AAA Call of Duty 5000 or whatever the fuck the new one is going to be.
Right.
There's nothing in between the way it used to be, which is a pain in the ass.
What was the other one that I saw? One of the reasons that the EA people wanted the Severance so bad was because like a lot of those people had spent 14 years working on Frostbite.
Oh Jesus!
And they were like, it's going to be a lot harder to get a job when your experience is in EA's internal homebrew bullshit engine that doesn't work. That's never fucking worked. Like
you have no experience outside of that, and it's not going to look good on you.
Yep.
And I just remember the closest thing to our mid-tier games are those weird fucking asymmetric games. There's so many.
Oh
of those.
yeah.
That's the high a lot of people are chasing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's just I wish that I don't know, because you are right that like there's also maybe the thesis statement here is that like we have so many more good games because there are just so many more games, period.
Yeah.
Because everybody's cranking out a lot, and that the market probably can't handle this level of movies and games and concerts and fucking like it, everything can't be popular and successful.
No, somebody gets fucked.
The economy is a zero-sum game, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're playing Destiny, you're probably not going to be playing Hyenas. So
we're in the Ricky Bobby timeline where if you're not first, you're last, and that's kind of the issue.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh boy. Last of Us. The developer Naughty Dog has laid off. This one is smaller. It's like 25 contractors.
I heard the number was a little bigger, but not by a lot.
What's that?
I heard the number was slightly bigger, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, okay.
But this was one that I wasn't really bummed out about because contract work can end at literally any minute.
Yeah.
Even if it's a good time. Like this one is not. These people probably should have been careful to begin with. That sounds mean, but if you've ever been a contract worker, you know exactly what the fuck I mean.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, just like every one of these stories is another good reason to be like, anybody like labor unions are a good idea.
Yes.
Like, because as somebody who's been a contract worker several times in my lifetime, it's like, yeah, you have no idea what the fuck is going to happen. Like,
yeah, you could walk in the next day and they'll be like, well, it's done.
Yep.
That's the end of the contract.
Bye.
But it says I have like 3 months left. It's like, that's cool.
Yep.
But that's not the case now. Get the fuck out. It's happened to a lot of people I've known over the years.
Maybe though that problem is a little bit more about being a contract worker in a a right to work state, right?
Yes. Well, it's a little bit of both, but that's the issue. But this affected their bottom line much more than anybody anticipated because now the Last of Us multiplayer apparently has been delayed indefinitely.
Oh, really? I didn't actually see that part in the one that I was reading.
I found out because somebody tweeted out about it because there was another announcement like right after the layoffs.
Oh, okay.
Where they're like, hey, we don't have enough. Those contractors were pretty much only working on that game.
Yeah.
And so I don't have anybody working on it. And so we're just going to have to delay it.
And, like, this is just one of those, again, I'm sorry, this is a weird mood today. Like, part of my whole problem with this is it was just like, yeah, we're going to make a multiplayer add-on for The Last of Us 2. We're going to make it a standalone thing. It's going to be great. Don't you all want to play multiplayer in The Last of Us? I'm like, who told you that they wanted that? Like
there actually was a precedent for that one at least.
No, I know that there were people that were fans of the first one, but they were not legion. They were small.
I was about to say the reason I was going to say the thing about the butt was that stuff made sense because it was a small multiplayer attack because that happened a lot back then.
Yeah,
that was another thing a lot of people chased where they kept adding multiplayers to things that you didn't really need a multiplayer for. Doom 2016 was
Bioshock 2.
Bioshock 2 had one.
Yep.
Uncharted 4 had one.
Yep.
There's a few others but I can't remember off the top of my head. But every single person was trying to do one. And that was one of those. Yeah. And for some reason, they're like, everyone loves multiplayer games, right? It's the high everyone keeps chasing right now, where they can maybe like try to make it a Fortnite-nighty type thing, probably. And it's just not going to work for them. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, this is what they said. A source for Kotaku says that they were told that's basically on ice at this point. So I think that those motherfuckers should cancel it. I think they should cancel it and make another single player game. Telltale is not known for fucking like multiplayer. Naughty Dog is not known for Naughty Dog is not known for Telltale's the next one. They're not known for online multiplayer. Like the closest thing they're known for multiplayer stuff were their kart racers, and those were only made 2 of those. I mean, like I know person, there's somebody out there listening that's like, well, I really like the multiplayer, and it's like that's fine, but it was never big enough to justify trying to spin it off into its own property. I still have the best idea for a multiplayer for Last of Us. Yeah. It's capture the Joel. If you capture the Joel, you can kill them. If not, you have to save them from the golf club. Good Lord. Telltale. Also, layoffs. But this one I didn't know about this one. This one's a new one to me. Yep. Well, the thing is that it's weird and small and difficult. Here's the statement that they made to Game Informer. Due to current market conditions, we regrettably had to let some of our Telltale team go recently. We did not take this action lightly, and our commitment to storytelling and finding new ways to do so remains great. Remains the same. We are grateful to everyone for their dedication along this journey, and we're also working to support everyone impacted. All projects currently in development are still in production, and we have no future updates at this time. Yeah, but then one of the people, this was one of the people that was laid off. They were asked like how many people were laid off, and the quote from them were "most of us." And I'm like,
I'm pretty sure, didn't Telltale liquidate like 95% of their staff the first time they almost went out of business?
Yeah, this was a whole new management system, and they still fucked up.
Yep.
And they were very adamant, like, we're taking our time to make sure The Wolf Among Us 2 is going to be great.
Yep.
And we're slowly making our way there now, and now it's going to be even slower. Or they're going to crunch like they said they weren't going to, because now they don't have anybody. Fucking have anybody.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Let's see. Yeah, there's no official statement of how many employees were let go, but like there aren't that many left, my man.
There wasn't that many to begin with in the new regime, as we'll call it. Here's the deal. All of the people who've been laid off in all of these stories should get together and make their own giant studio just to give middle fingers to everybody that fired them and make as many good games as they possibly can.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Make some kind of breakout game.
There's dozens of you now.
Start a new genre that nobody knew that they wanted, and then become like the fucking battle royale, the new battle royale.
Exactly. Become the new developer bosses.
Yeah.
There's enough of you.
Yep.
There's enough of you that gather together to make a loan that would probably make that shit work. I'm not even joking.
And then when you make it, just start buying other companies and firing like the top management from them.
Buy Telltale again and fire everybody again.
Well, okay, but listen, you know what? Like, I think that there's another part of this story that I keep coming back to is the idea that it was like, you know, Telltale was purchased and saved from going all the way out of business, right? And they got the licensing right to make The Expanse, which they did 5 episodes of that. It's all done.
Oh, I didn't realize
and
that.
The Wolf Among Us 2, and it's like, do you like... The Walking Dead was a phenomenon. When that game came out, the show was very popular. I do not know that many people who watch The Expanse. I do not think that The Expanse is the genre defined. I think that there's a part of the media sector that wants The Expanse to be the next Game of Thrones, but it's not.
No.
Like, it's not, and it's just not going to do that. And Wolf Among Us 2, I know that Wolf Among Us is popular. I know that Fables is popular, but it's like the multiplayer in The Last of Us or in Uncharted. Like, it is popular, but is it popular enough to keep a studio alive?
No.
I don't think so.
The issue with the original issue with Telltale, and again, this is the original Telltale, is that they spent all their money getting licenses, and then those games didn't do as well as they thought they would.
Yeah.
And then it sunk them into the ground. That's why you didn't see a lot of those Guardians of the Galaxy ones they did.
Yeah.
Or the Game of Thrones ones they did.
Yep.
Or even the other Walking Dead ones they made after the original Walking Dead when they did.
Right. The season 2 of Walking Dead with Clementine all grown up, badass.
It wasn't talked about nearly as much as that first one.
Yep.
Not even fucking close.
Yeah. So,
and that's not even to mention the shit they fucked up before that. That Jurassic Park one is abysmal.
I personally think that there's a lot of these things where there's a weird cycle that happens where like they'll announce like, well, Telltale Games is going out of business. And everybody's like, oh no, I love their games. I love their games. I love their games. And then they're like, okay, well, we bought them. We downsized them. We found a potentially popular thing and we're putting out The Expanse. Will you buy it? Well, no. I'm not interested in The Expanse. It's like, okay, well, Telltale Games is going out of business again. And it's like, no, I love Telltale Games. Like, I don't think
they should have started with the third Batman. That's what they should have did, because that one did really well.
Yeah.
And they never finished that one.
Or Wolf Among Us 2. I really don't understand how Expanse got put in there.
I feel like that was something they were already working on before they were about to get shut down, and they just had enough finished to do it.
I mean, I like The Expanse. Like, I actually read most of The Expanse books, and I watched some of the show, and then the game started, and it was like, here's your character. Do you like her? And I was like, oh yeah, I remember her. She was like a background side character in one of the books, and this is like her backstory. No. Where are the guys from the show?
She was apparently popular in the show, I guess, but I never saw the show.
Anyway, all right. Let's. This is our last. We're just gonna finish up with all the doom and gloom, and that way we can come back and marathon through the rest of the stuff. Also, Team 17 is getting hit by some layoffs. This is weird. This one happens in the UK, and so it's like, in order to fire people in the UK, you have to go through this Byzantine system where you like declare your intention to remove people or something. Like, I don't know if you got to put like a powdered wig on or something. So
you have to convince them that the parrot wasn't dead the whole time.
Right. Yeah. So apparently, like, this is a quote from VG247 article. Word reportedly came in this morning from an internal town hall as staff received a letter informing them that their jobs are at risk. It's worth noting that due to the scale of the layoffs, no one has been made redundant as of yet, as a period of consultation will happen first before any jobs are cut. This will reportedly conclude November of 2023.
Oh, wow.
So they were
That's
told
terrifying.
like this month that, like, I don't know, maybe not.
They brought in the Bobs.
Yep.
We'll see how it goes from there.
Yep.
Bob.
I've heard though that Team 17 is like kind of weird and rickety to begin
I wouldn't
with,
be surprised.
But
they're not known for giant things to begin with.
yeah. So, yeah. All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we are going to do better news. I've got better news that is less of a bummer. Get ready for that. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right, Michael, I think I've got like two more bummers before we can get into something that's like less bummer time USA. So I didn't talk about this last week, but this is ridiculous.
It's something that I feel like shouldn't have happened, but I also should have seen coming.
Yeah. So this is in Amsterdam. In the Van Gogh Museum. They're doing this like crossover thing where they're talking about Van Gogh and then they're talking about Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of this weird exhibit about different influences and different types of things. But one of the things that they've done is they created like I haven't seen anything but this one thing that it's like
I've only seen this one specific image.
a Van Gogh like
because it's like a self-portrait that Van Gogh did.
Yeah, but it's
himself.
Pikachu instead.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. They were selling like prints and cards and things like this at the gift shop, and apparently like the place was overrun with fucking scalpers and people just mobbing the joint to buy up all of this stuff immediately, like as soon as it was available. And it's now all on eBay for ridiculous markup prices because this is the world that we live in. And I never thought that I would watch videos on Twitter of what looks like Black Friday at a Walmart in fucking Topeka, but it's fucking people in Amsterdam just going crazy to buy pictures of Pikachu with a hat on.
Yeah, people are like trying to grab like multiples of them as much as they can.
Yep.
And there's all these people just like swarming everything, just launching
like
shit into the air.
Yeah,
like some of that stuff is now super bent, and there's the last part looks like somebody's pulling on them,
like somebody's trying to grab something out of somebody else's hand.
Like it's fucked. Yeah, is really the thing.
And so, unfortunately, what this meant was that, like, I think it was after a day or two, maybe.
I'm not even surprised.
It was all gone. Like, there's no way to get any of this stuff by going to the museum. And the Pokemon company came out with a statement where they were basically like, "We apologize. We didn't like really."
We didn't think our fans were idiots,
even though they
monsters.
They should have. What was that thing? Was it like a McDonald's promotion or something where people were
the Szechuan sauce?
No. There was like a Pokemon thing where dudes were like ripping off boxes of Pokemon cards out of the back of a McDonald's, like the ones that were supposed to go in a Happy Meal for children, and they were just like selling them out of the back of the thing at a 4,000% markup or something like that.
No, that's very much it's happening constantly with Pokemon. Yeah, I remember when I worked for Target and the amiibos that were coming out, and they were like at Target you get the special like Jigglypuff or something amiibo, and there were just lines of people waiting before we opened, and I was like, and us in the back who were stocking, they're like, we got 5 of these, and there's like 50 of them out there. They're gonna kill each other. Like it was insane. Like we had to be very careful with that sort of thing. It was and And that was just that. Like, that was a normal retail store. These people were not prepared for any of this.
This is a museum gift shop.
Yeah.
Like,
these people were not prepared to get swarmed by random Pokemon, either Pokemon fans, because some of them probably were there for themselves.
right.
Or even the scalpers. Like, they were not prepared for any of this.
Yeah.
There probably was not even a one per person thing, kind of thing.
Well, why would you need to do that? It's a museum gift
shop.
shop.
No one's gonna come
Have
here.
you ever been to a museum gift shop? There's like 3 people in there.
Yeah, they're not
like,
prepared for any of this.
Yeah. So Pokemon had to put out a statement. Quote, "We apologize to all the fans eagerly awaiting our Pokemon Center X Van Gogh Museum release today. Due to overwhelming demand, all of our products from this collection have sold out. We understand this is disappointing to many who look to our official email and social media channels for guidance on how and when to purchase. We are actively working on ways to provide more Pikachu with gray felt hat promo cards for the fans shopping at Pokemon Center in the future. Details be released at a later date. Thank you for your continuing understanding and support." I think that for one of these, someday, one of these motherfuckers need to be like, okay, you know what? Print 1 million. Like, we're gonna flood the market with this bullshit. Like,
we're just gonna like make it impossible for it to be super rare,
right?
But we're gonna claim it is first,
yeah,
and then just make like 1,000 of them, like thousands of them.
So yeah,
my biggest issue with the Van Gogh is they didn't cut off one of his Pikachu's ears. Is all I'm saying. If you're gonna do it, you should go all the way.
Inaccurate.
Come on, guys.
So yeah, but yeah,
that's the special rare one out of every 500.
They're showing these things like some of these, the cards are going for like $300 on fucking eBay. Like,
oh my god,
here's $25 for a postcard, the postcard version of Pikachu in a hat.
This is why it's such a hard time getting this fucking Spider-Man faceplates.
Yeah,
these scalpers, man.
Everything is ridiculous. It's all like, what?
If it has the word limited in it in some way, a scalper is gonna buy them.
Like poor Michael over here wanted a piece of plastic with Spider-Man on it. And they were just like, oops, there's no more plastic with Spider-Man on it. It's like, what are you talking about? Make more plastic with Spider-Man on it.
You got to pay the eBayer guy $300 for it. It's you can just buy the console for almost that much. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I'm still pissed about it even now.
Yep.
And I have them.
And he had them. Yeah. In other Nintendo news, I know Pokemon and Nintendo aren't the same thing, but in other Nintendo news, the 3DS and Wii U online services are going to be shut down in April of 2024.
That's a shame.
So the shop has already been turned off. That happened earlier this year, but the ability for them to do anything online is basically going to be sunsetted at some point. I kind of have a little bit of respect for Nintendo in this, as where they're just like, yeah, nobody uses this anymore, we're turning it off. And like, there's all these questions about, well, what if my 3DS breaks and I can't get my WiiWare calendar app downloaded? And they're just like, we don't care, we don't give a shit. Like,
well, I don't know if they still do this, but sometimes you could send it to them.
Yeah.
And then they'll transfer them.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's still a thing.
That's the most fucked up thing about this era of Nintendo, was that they didn't have any kind of like store tracking.
No.
So
there was not an account. There wasn't like a PlayStation Plus account.
Yeah.
Or a PlayStation Network account, not Plus. Or an Xbox account. Or even just what's your email? It was just like, you bought it on that 3DS. You broke that 3DS. I don't know what to fucking tell you. Buy it again.
Buy it again. Buy them a second time.
Yeah,
you don't get to re-download your shit.
You were fucked. It sucks. It sucked. Even
Absolutely. So yeah. I don't know. I guess get ready for that. Let's see. From there, Gran Turismo Sport is also shutting down its servers. So this was the always online, like the kind of Gran Turismo as a service one. I think it was on the PS4, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Now there's some real big questions here, because previously, like, if you could not play this game offline.
No.
Like, if you were offline, it wouldn't save your progress. So the idea of like, well, what happens after the server shuts down? Because they say that you're still going to be able to play it, but it's not clear at this point whether as of the time of recording, whether there's going to be some kind of like patch to make it available so you can now do everything offline, which would, of course, then put the lie to the idea that it needed to be always online in the first place. I guess if you're racing against other people, you want that like
that's
security
that's the main thing about it was that the Gran Turismo is known for like racing each other.
Yeah.
So odds are if them turning it off it makes it less interesting, and you probably aren't going to get any more like updates and like cars and shit. Probably.
Yeah.
And that's even if they decide to do that, because not every place still lets you do that. There was an only online Tekken game at one point, and I have no idea what the fuck happened to that thing.
Also, I remember that a lot of people were unhappy with this release of Gran Turismo on top of that, like for that
fair.
reason, for that kind of always online reason. So,
Which is fair.
okay, how about a funnier story, Michael? Baldur's Gate fucked up. They put hair on a cat.
Wait, what?
They put hair on a cat. So okay, in Baldur's Gate 3, there is a cat called His Majesty. His Majesty, if you have animal speak, is a cat that was in one of the areas in the game, and they did an update. So originally the game was a Sphinx cat.
One of those hairless cats.
Yes. Weird. This was apparently a bug where that NPC was only like allowed to be displayed as a Sphinx cat as opposed to the regular cat, because they have, like actual cats in the game. So the latest hotfix that Larian did, they fixed it. And so suddenly this cat had hair on it. And then suddenly everybody freaked out because they were like, because this cat is a very haughty character that like orders you around and bosses you around and is like has a very regal air, and people liked that it was a Sphinx cat. There's a second Sphinx cat later on in the game as well, and so when they put hair on it, everybody was like, "What have you done? What have you done?
What have you done, guys? You sick fucks."
So
it makes sense if a character like that is a Sphinx cat more than it would like the cat that you just showed.
Yeah,
because that cat just seems more like an asshole, where the other one seems more majestic.
Yes. So they went ahead and hot fixed that cat.
I love these memes though.
They shaved the cat.
These memes are great.
Yeah.
Majesty shaved.
Right. Yeah, like the in the Elden Ring / Dark Souls.
My favorite is the Donald Glover one.
This one. Yeah. Well, another problem that they had was they changed Raphael's hair color. This demon guy. Like they made it darker, and so he had more like kind of black hair instead of brown hair. And this is not the sort of thing I care about, but the Baldur's Gate fan base, the people that are really into Baldur's Gate were like, "What have you done, you monsters?"
Well, now their fan art doesn't match, and they're not going to pay that commission again.
Sure.
Fuck you guys.
So, yeah. Yes. Let's see. Next up on the list, more in my neck of the woods. Armored Core 6 got an update, and they nerfed the Zimmermans.
They did?
They nerfed the Zimmermans.
you would not stop talking about the Zimmermans.
No. I mean, that's how I went through the game was... dual Zimmermans were just like these incredibly overpowered shotguns, and you would just get up in people's faces and hit two buttons and they would stagger, and they reduced the stagger damage on all of them, as well as some of the shoulder weapons, which I think were the shoulder weapons that I was also using with the Zimmermans.
Well,
so
Jeff, you gotta figure out some shit now.
Oh no, dude, I already fucking triple platinum that thing, man. Like I'm done with Armored Core.
That's fair.
But they also
fucking Batman one.
The Batman one, instead of holding his parents, he's holding the Zimmermans.
I love that. I love when people use that meme specifically.
Yeah,
because that you can never take that sequence seriously ever again in a comic.
This is in addition to they did a lot of stuff where they basically buffed almost everything else in the game.
Oh, okay.
Like they nerfed the Zimmermans, but they added more ammo to all the handguns. They buffed almost all of the parts in the game are now like they're harder to stagger, and they've got more armor and stuff like that. But the big thing is just that the community is like, pour one out for the old Zimmermans, because it used to just be the win button in Armored Core 6.
Yep.
I know I used it. That's how I beat the final boss of the game, with dual Zimmermans and
oh my god,
dual needle launchers.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yep. Let's see. Payday. The Payday 3 devs are saying, hey guys, 100% totally no foolsies. We fixed the matchmaking problems in Payday 3.
Oh, that's nice.
And that seems to be the truth, actually, that it all got fixed, and whatever the problems were that we were talking about last week done. There's also kind of another piece of the story where one of the weird things that was happening in Payday was they had a series of like achievements that you would want to try to get in order to get progression in the game. And people did not like this because it meant that it was like the achievement would be kill 25 cops with this particular assault rifle. And people are like, I'm playing this to like stealthily rob a bank. Not like go out in the street and just start mowing people down.
Yeah, it just makes it difficult to do anything you need to at that point.
Yeah. And so for a little bit, for like the first week, the devs were like, we're not changing that. We're not changing that system. That system is what it is. Sorry, the end. They've now come out and been like, yeah, JK, we're gonna totally rework that system.
What do you mean a bunch of people said we're not buying the game anymore?
So sometime in October, they've pushed back the latest patch to October to make a bunch of changes. So,
God, if I had a nickel for every time this has happened lately,
yep,
I have a shit ton of nickels.
Yep. Well, here's the thing. Not to be a shithead or anything, but like, you guys, it's Payday. You need to listen to your audience.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have the broad mass appeal.
You're not the Call of Duty audience where like everybody and their grandma is cool with whatever you do.
Yeah, like you guys put your shit out like in between Cyberpunk and the new Assassin's Creed game, and fucking there's a new Mario game and a new Spider-Man game coming out like imminently. You do not want to shed players at this point.
You guys, yeah, good luck with that.
So the whole idea that they were going to dig in their feet in the first place and be like, no, it's like, no, you do whatever they want. You do whatever they want.
You don't make enough for that to be the answer, guys. I'm sorry.
Let's see. Speaking of Cyberpunk, we got some Cyberpunk news. There was a big investor presentation that CD Projekt Red did, and it gave us a few kind of tidbits about Cyberpunk that are interesting. The first one was that the new Cyberpunk, the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, is currently in early development, and it's being they've got the OG CD Projekt Red studio is working on it, but also there's like a studio in the U.S. There's two studios in the U.S. Vancouver. There's one in Canada. Vancouver, Boston, and then CDPR in Poland are all three going to be working on this simultaneously.
It's going to be 2078.
Yeah. Obviously, this is when they talk about starting work on Elder Scrolls 6. Like, you should not be following this news.
No.
This will be in dribs and drabs for 3 or 4 years. Who knows if it will even come out on current hardware.
This is the way they should be announcing it, which is just to their investors.
Yes.
And it's not even like an announcement, just so much. We're looking into what we're doing at the moment. For all we know, this probably won't even go anywhere.
Yeah.
It really depends on what happens from here. So, yeah, hopefully they learn their lesson and don't announce this thing super ahead of time.
It's another one. Remember? Multiplayer for Cyberpunk 2077. That was a thing that they were like, oh, no, we're totally doing that. It's going to happen later on.
And then they just gave up on that one. They're like, fuck that.
It's funny because actually at this point, I think that they might be able to leverage 2077 into some kind of GTA 5 style thing. I see all over I was going to the Cyberpunk subreddit. People fucking love the people that like Cyberpunk. God, they love hanging out in Night City, and the idea that if you could create like some multiplayer job system that people could engage in and play with their friends, I bet people would fucking love that.
Well, they would. That's the thing about Cyberpunk 2077. It wasn't so much that they fucked up making the world. They fucked up making the world be stable.
Right.
That's really the only real issues that were going on for a lot of people.
Also, I wasn't able to block bullets with my katana when that game launched, and I got to tell you, like, I'm a simple man. If you give me the ability to fucking reflect bullets back at some giant like Arasaka mech suit that's like, "We'll destroy you," and I'm like,
I also couldn't run over people.
Oh yeah,
It was the weirdest thing. I don't know if this was a glitch that or something that happened often, but whenever it hit somebody, it stopped the car dead in its tracks.
Yeah.
Like as if the body got stuck in the axles or something.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Double jumps in air. I know you could double jump in the game when it came out, but double jumps with air dash, I'm not giving that up. I don't even drive anywhere. I just fucking boing boing.
That double jump is great because I'll walk up to a building, you'd be like, how am I going to get up there? Oh wait, I can double jump. And I just like sneak behind a bunch of people and then just murder them and then leave.
I looked at all the legs and I was like, oh, here's one that lets you like super jump if you hold down the. Nah, that's all right. That's cool. I'm gonna switch out double jump.
Yeah.
Double jump for life.
I'm gonna do it like I'm Super Mario. Yahoo!
Yep. One of the other things that I think was really interesting. So here is actually this kind of brings us back to some of the earlier points we were talking about, kind of game development, right? There was some money numbers that came out that talked about how much money was spent getting Phantom Liberty together and fixing the game. So apparently, the expansion, Phantom Liberty, cost over $60 million to develop. Now, the initial game, if I'm not mistaken, was like 174 million to develop Cyberpunk, and then they also spent 142 million on marketing.
Oh damn!
Which
makes sense. They had a lot of marketing.
They had a lot of marketing, but you probably could have cut that in half, and it would have been fine. Like,
well, yeah, it was one of the most anticipated games of the year. Like they really didn't need to spend anything on it. Really,
it was one of the reasons. It's one of those things where it's like I always feel bad when people are like, "Well, you shouldn't have gotten your hopes up," and I'm like, "You spent 142 million dollars getting my hopes up."
Yeah,
like that's what that money was there for. Was to get my hopes up.
It got people's hopes up so much that people were taking time off of work.
Yep,
and then were mad that you delayed it, so they couldn't do what they planned on doing.
Yep. If you foster unreasonable amounts of hype, then you cannot be. Like, you can't get, like, completely bent out of shape when people get rabid about how excited they are for your game. Like, you did that. You made that happen.
Yeah, they fucking bullied you into releasing it.
Yeah.
And that you did that to yourselves.
Yep. But, yeah, $60 million to develop Phantom Liberty. So almost, a little less than half of what it cost to make the entire game.
Okay.
And then not just that, but it also cost, apparently, from the estimate, $21 million in marketing, and let's see, it was 60 million, it was 21 million, so about 80 million, so about half of what it cost to actually make the game just to do the expansion. And then part of that too was also the 2.0 update, I believe. Let's see, yes,
it's honestly a shame that it is only getting the one expansion.
I really wish that somebody could just open up. I really wish that they had like a small team that they would just leave to keep fucking with Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
To be like, and you're just gonna keep shoveling money into this office. Like, you 25 people are just gonna keep working on this thing. You're gonna smooth out all the bugs. Nobody's ever gonna T-pose ever again in this game. Like, we're gonna do the dialogue and we're gonna make it a little bit better. We're going to bring people back in this month to do some site re-recordings, because like that game is almost like one of the best games I've ever played in my life.
Same.
It's not quite, but it's almost one of the best games I've ever played in my life.
It still glitches out.
And it's not even just that. It's like the writing is a little clunky in places. The dialogue, like you were talking about how the dialogue will sometimes clip off before people are done talking.
That happens to me a lot.
But this is actually, I think, interesting in the idea that it's like you spent all this money on the game and then you had to spend 3 years and almost half again that cost fixing it. Like, it probably would have cost you less to just release it fixed in the first place, as opposed to having to go through this whole fucking rigmarole of releasing it broken and then apologizing and offering refunds, so I need to list it from the store, blah 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 blah.
I just remembered my favorite meme of when it came out, which is, I can see what you mean, guys. This game is full of bugs, and it was a screenshot of Cyberpunk 2077, covered in pictures of Bugs Bunny.
Oh, You know, the other thing I just wanted to briefly say was that, because I saw the fucking Edge Runners down here. Edge Runners did a lot. Edge Runners did a lot to make me excited about this.
It did a lot of heavy lifting to keeping that game alive.
Yeah.
Because that game probably would have died if it wasn't for the excitement that anime caused.
And that anime, like, they just needed to give the concept to somebody and then just let them do fucking whatever, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
And aren't they making another thing with Cyberpunk? Like a show or something?
Yes, that was the tab that I just accidentally closed. Cyberpunk is also getting a live action TV adaptation, which is good.
That's good, but I also kind of wish they would have just got another anime.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. I looked at it and it was like, so the company that they're teaming up with is called Anonymous Content, and they're a global media company, but they are known for producing True Detective and Mr. Robot. And I'm like, well, at least you guys have found a good,
that's a solid choice.
Hard-boiled detective, fucking computers and hacking and secret society. Yes, that is good. Do that.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
Those are the people you should have gotten for that. Yes.
It's funny how it's like, I don't know what has happened.
You should have got Garth Marenghi. That's all I'm saying.
Garth Marenghi's Night City.
I would watch that.
Dude, oh my God, I now want to just make a mod that replaces Reed, like Idris Elba's character, with Matt Berry. He's just like,
I'd be cool with that, yeah.
So you're the one they call V. Actually, scratch that. I'm going to go back to my roots. I just want to replace Reed with Jackie Daytona.
Oh, God.
I'm Jackie Daytona, Night City Fixer, Human City Fixer.
You got to kill the Voodoo Boys. I would love to just hear him announce shit from that fucking game. It would be great.
Yep. Have you ever seen? I'm sorry, this is a tangent, but you ever seen? There's like a BBC show where it's just like celebrities reading.
Yeah,
like
I've
experts.
seen a lot of clips of that.
Yeah,
and Matt Berry's in a lot of them.
Yeah, was the one that had Matt Berry, and then it was like the guy that was Doctor Who for a while.
Yeah, it was one of the Doctor Who's and him having like an email exchange that somebody did.
I thought the one that I saw was like, it was like a 14th century, like somebody sent a letter to a warlord and then like his response.
Actually, no, it was that one. That was the one. That is the one I was thinking of. There's
Peter
another
Capaldi.
There's another one that he did that is, I think, is an email that somebody sent out.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of those and they're fucking amazing because it's just them acting these things out, or not even just acting them out, but they're reading them dramatically.
Yeah, they're
and they're so fucking amazing.
What are they called?
I forgot, but they got some because they pop up randomly on my recommended, and I don't know why, but I love that they keep
Letters
doing that.
Live.
Yeah, Letters Live, and Matt Berry does a lot of them.
Yeah,
one of them I think was it's the Matt Stone one. That's how I found out about it. It was the MPAA's notes on the South Park movie.
Oh,
that's how I found out about it because somebody mentioned it to me, and that's when I looked for it, and then it kept popping up on my recommended.
I watched the Taika Waititi about the speeding ticket. Have you seen that one? Where
that one I did see. Yeah.
That one's very good.
They're all amazing. If you guys ever get a chance, you should. I highly recommend watching these.
Letters Live is great. Speaking of places that you can watch cool stuff, Sony is adding. Well, okay, so Sony has this weird like movie streaming thing. I feel like Sony has had like 8 of these for fuck's sake. Like,
yeah.
But there is an app. Okay, Sony Pictures Core, which is a rebrand of the streaming service Bravia Core, is on the PlayStation. Is on there right now. It is Sony's like internal movie streaming service. Like it's like their streaming service.
Oh, okay.
And it's like you can go there, you can buy movies, you can rent movies, etc., etc. Okay. This is some bullshit. I would never talk about this except for the fact that if you have the highest version of PlayStation Plus, they give you a bunch of movies on this platform. Not new movies. Weird selection of movies. Like
it's a very strange,
I went and looked at them, and like Black Dynamite and like all the sniper movies with Tom Berenger and like you don't get to watch Into the Spider-Verse or the new Gran Turismo. You can, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And it was really weird the pricing on those because I went to go look at the new Gran Turismo and they were like $19.99 to rent, $24.99 to own, and I was like, what? What horse shit is this?
That's unfortunately kind of common with those prices because even Google's like that too. But for new releases,
the ones I look at a lot of times are just like all you can do is buy it. Like there is no rental.
Yeah, that's how Asteroid City was when I watched it on YouTube. It was rent for $20 and buy for $25.
Okay. But yeah,
it's always like new releases. If it's been out for a while, they go down pretty quickly.
I just wanted to say this because if you're just looking for like, there's just free movies.
Yeah.
Right. If you already have PlayStation Plus, you can just download this. There's a bunch of free movies. But
Yeah, and if it's Black Dynamite, you should do it because
Yeah.
Black Dynamite is amazing. Looks at picture.
I was trying to remember a bunch of them, but like I looked through the list and I was like, wow, this is a lot of weird garbage. Hey, look, Black Dynamite, cool.
Black Dynamite is fantastic, guys.
So.
I'm so happy that movie took off the way it did.
Go check them out. So yeah. In other Sony news, it turns out that in addition to that hack that we talked about last week that didn't actually appear to be done by the guys that said what they did it, there was another hack that happened like a few months back where like personal data from 6,791 current and past Sony employees was leaked.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. It was really, really weird. Apparently Sony is offering, what is it? It's called the Equifax, like credit monitoring and identity restoration services for anybody that's affected.
It gets offered a lot. Those Equifax ones when stuff like this happens.
But yeah, so apparently this isn't affecting like customers, but it is affecting internal stuff. And this was all broken by Bleeping Computer. Also, there was something else in here about I think that the way that this happened was through an unpatched Japanese server, something like that.
Like, I mentioned it for like in a sentence above something about a something transfer.
Yeah.
There it is, the Move It transfer platform.
Yeah. Security breach occurred May 28th, and that was where this current leak came from. So Sony needs to get their shit together. You gotta fucking do some updates, man. You can't just like leave that shit forever. It's exploits. Yeah. Oh, also, we have more Sony news. Sony has deleted all the tweets and hidden all of the videos related to that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remaster announcement. Yeah. This includes like apparently the entire stream where they announced it.
Yeah, they got rid of everything.
Like,
and their explanation was so strange.
I don't know if I read that.
I found out because somebody was talking about it. Their explanation was, some of the music licensing expired. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? The music license for a game that's supposed to still be being developed expired?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that game is gone.
That game is dead.
That game is never going to be talked about again. So
Aspire fucked up so bad, and they couldn't find anybody to fix what they fucked up.
True. There's a new Spider-Man 2 bundle coming, but this is just like the regular PlayStation with Spider-Man 2. I didn't want to get you too excited.
No, I saw it. Yeah, I was surprised they did it because I was like, I guess that they must have finally sold out of the other bundles. I guess.
Yep. And
it's not a bad bundle. Like it's a normal PS5. And you get Spider-Man 2 for that. So.
It's like $560, something like that.
That's not bad.
Oh, Spider-Man also, they announced they're going to give you more direct control over the web swinging. I don't know if you read this one.
I heard about it on Twitter, but I didn't read about it.
So apparently, like, the way somebody asked about it for an accessibility thing, and this was the explanation. So, this is from somebody that was working on this. There are 10 levels of swing assistance on a slider in Spider-Man 2. The game starts at the default, which is from the previous games, which is level 10.
Yeah.
And then you could turn it down to get less assistance as you want. And this is like, in the last Spider-Man game, it's like, you just hold down a button and fucking like hold forward, and you would just always.
It was very straightforward.
You would never die. You would just hit buildings and go and go and go.
Yeah.
As opposed to like the old Spider-Man that everybody loves on like the PlayStation 2. It's like you kind of had to be near something. You had to take into account like where you were.
Well, there was a lot of stuff, and you could fall and just fall flat on your face.
Yeah,
was the thing about it. And there's been a lot of arguments on comic Twitter about it for a while now, where people were annoyed that there wasn't more control over your swinging because of so many games before it were very I'm not passionate, but very like distinctly different when it came to web swinging.
Right.
And so people were hoping for more stuff like that, and that's good news for them. I, on the other hand, didn't really care a lot about that because I just want it to fucking be Spider-Man web swinging. I don't really care if the game like holds my hand with the web swinging or not. But I might try it out. What happens if I turn it all the way down though?
You're not playing it on hard. You're not playing Spider-Man on hard.
No, I do, but not the first time.
European Extreme.
Yeah,
playing
European Extreme.
European Extreme mode.
You get caught, you're fucked.
Yeah.
End of story.
Let's see. Apparently on the Red Dead Redemption backwards compatible PS4 version that's on the PS5 can now run at 60 frames per second.
Yeah, and it's weird that it's only that one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is only that one, in spite of the fact that like this game is old enough that other things should be able to run it faster.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like, isn't this also on this? What was it?
There's a Switch version. Yep.
There's not an Xbox one, right? Because it just uses
Xbox has backwards compatibility.
It just uses the normal compatibility one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was only those. It's when they released them on there, but there's still not a PC version. Still not a PC version.
There's still not a PC version. That's what everybody wants. That's what people were hoping this would be.
Yeah.
Because people really want to fuck with that game's like stuff to make it do stuff similar to this.
Mm-hmm. I want to mod stuff into it. I want to mod Loco Steve into Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, the amount of mods that would happen if this game came out on PC would be fucking phenomenal.
Absolutely. Warhammer 40K Darktide came out on the Xbox. It came out like way earlier this year on the PC, and apparently they've been like revamping it. Like there's a whole new like cosmetic system and progression system and stuff like that. And they talked a lot about how there's kind of an interesting interview with one of the main guys on it, talking about how like they had a really difficult time with the Xbox, and then they got a lot of flack from folks for like they keep trying to like talk about what they were doing with the game, and then people be like Xbox. Yeah,
One's Marvel.
So, but yeah, it turns out it is out on the Xbox. Yeah,
that's the tricky thing about fans, man. They'll remind you.
Really. Just this toilet paper ad freaked me out on this website.
I was going to ask why, but I'm not going to now.
Well, no, it was like, do you not trust the flush? And it had this like lady that was like really distressed. And then it was a toilet paper ad. It was for toilet paper. That was like, trust the flushability. And I was
it was for Scott, which is a terrible toilet paper, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just paper thin.
It's one of the worst toilet papers I've ever used.
Of course you could flush that. Yeah. All right, let's see. This was so weird. This is so weird, and it's going to be over by the time this comes out. So, do you remember the game Gigantic?
Vaguely.
It was a Gearbox game. It was a MOBA, but it was like a third-person MOBA, and it had these fucking assholes. IGN has to play a whole fucking 3-minute ad before they'll show you a trailer for a video game.
That's like a minute long, probably.
There was like an owl face guy. The big thing from it was that there was a big like griffin and then a dragon that would like go behind your characters, and they were kind of cell shaded, and they were all real wacky looking. And
I remember this game now.
Well, they're bringing the servers back online this weekend for one weekend only.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, but why? I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to bring it back online, because, like, I'm sure there's some people out there who would be interested in giving it a try.
Yeah.
But, like, why would you then only do it for, like, 3 days?
Yeah,
like,
why that specific game?
Right. What about Battleborn? Are you to turn Battleborn back on? Like,
poor Battleborn didn't stand a chance.
I think the reason that this one, though, is because I'm pretty sure this was free to play.
I guess that makes sense.
So
still,
like with Battleborn, if you turned on the Battleborn servers, you'd have to have people dig out their copies of Battleborn.
Gearbox makes weird fucking decisions.
Yeah,
and they've been doing that for a long time.
I remember I looked at this trailer for it, and I was just like, wow, look at all of the wasted art direction that went into this game that just didn't do anything. So
same with Battleborn.
Very weird that they're turning this back on. Like I said, it's probably going to be turned off by the time this podcast comes out. But like, yeah, you're trying to kind of like get your giant beast to the other giant beast, and then they would attack each other or something.
Maybe they were trying to gauge interest in maybe making another one. I don't know. I think it makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's very weird. This is the weirdest story of all time. Okay, this is a really weird story. Apparently, the FBI recently unsealed an indictment against a former analyst at Goldman Sachs for doing insider trading, who was communicating with the people that he was sending his insider trading stock tips to over the Xbox 360 dashboard system.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And apparently, he said specifically, well, no one can ever. They were like, well, because one of the guys got arrested, and they were like, is he going to flip? And he's like, it doesn't matter. Nobody can track what we say over the Xbox 360 messaging system. No one will ever find out these things that I have sent to people over the Xbox 360 messaging system. He was incorrect.
Yeah, that's not how that works. That system very much had ways of being, cataloged.
Yep. So yeah, it was very strange.
He should have done it through just the chat party, like just talking to them while playing Halo.
Yeah,
that's not something they would have been able to find.
What was the other? There was
so fucking funny.
There was another one too. Signal. I don't know. Anyway, it's also unclear. It's possible that this might not actually be the exact story that I'm saying, and that the guy thinks it's Xbox 360, and that was actually a different Xbox messaging, but it was something over
one
Xbox.
Of those.
So
he was just playing Halo with his friend. He's like, "Did you see Brian's hat?"
Yeah,
and then he also talked about stocks at the same time.
Have you watched that new Dan Olsen video about the GameStop stock guys?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
there's a whole movie about it now.
No, but this is no. This isn't that. This is what that community did after all of that.
Oh, really?
And it is fucking crazy. I'm not going to talk about it here because I'll keep going.
Because it'll go on for a while.
But yeah, you should totally watch it. Last, before we get into trailers, this story came out last week. Okay. Randy Orton plays Elden Ring. This is such a one-off story. And apparently, he was playing it, but he found it to be really hard. And so he paid two other wrestlers, Brennan Williams and Mansoor Al-Shahail, $1,000 to power level his Elden Ring character so they could play the game. Because I went back and apparently there was a tweet where somebody asked him what level he was in Elden Ring, and he was 527. Okay, just to put this in perspective, Michael.
No, I played Elden Ring. That's fucking ridiculously hard to do.
I just beat Elden Ring at level 150, and it was way easy. It was super easy. I mean, obviously that's me and Elden Ring, and I'm the best,
so
right?
Yeah.
But the idea that you would be level 527 ever in that game, the game actually caps at 715 or something like that. You can't actually go above that level.
Yeah.
That would make all of your stats 99. You could do everything in the game. But apparently, yeah, Randy. But you know what? I got to give props to somebody who's hey, I really want to play this global phenomenon that everybody is talking about, but it's too fucking hard. Hey, you two, children, come here. Here's my Xbox. Bring this back to me when I can one-shot everything in the first 4 levels. And well, what are you going to give us? I don't know. Here's $1,000. Fucking get away from me.
I can't blame him for that. That's actually not if he's having fun with it, no more power to him. Yeah.
Yep.
Especially since it's not a multiplayer. He's not going in invading people to murder them or something.
Well, I mean, even if it was doing it would level match him. So be going to people that were also level 527 that would fucking kick his ass.
They would annihilate his ass.
But it's funny to think that wow, somebody actually spent the effort to noobify Elden Ring by just ludicrously out-leveling everything in the game.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I wonder how they would do that and let him still play the game the way it's supposed to. That was the only issue I have.
You could always just go get some. There are places that you can go to farm runes hard, and you could probably just go find some equipment and then just I don't know, just put it in his storage, right? And it'd be if you ever ask hey, where's that sword? It'd be it's in your chest. It's what I used to make you that level. Probably you wouldn't even have to do that, right? You just give him you give the ability to one-shot everything in Limgrave, and he's yeah, having fun now. Take that, you sons of bitches.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know what kind of game player Randy Orton is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So,
I don't know what his weapon of choice would have been.
Trailer time. Yeah. Michael, we got a new Spider-Man trailer. This was for you.
It's a very nice trailer.
Yep. It's a cinematic trailer, the Be Greater Together trailer. Venom is really big in this game.
He's fucking massive. Also, it's nice to see like one of these fight scenes in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
because Venom stories tend to have them like, especially like movies and stuff. They always like nighttime related things.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see Venom in the middle of the day and something that isn't just a comic for once.
Is there anything in this trailer that is? I guess we haven't seen that much actual Venom. We've seen Peter Parker.
No, yeah,
black costume Peter Parker, symbiote Peter Parker, but we haven't seen actual, honest to God, Venom outside of like screenshots.
like this is the most like movement we've seen Venom do.
Yeah,
but like it's all a cutscene, so this isn't really a direct way of judging how a fight with him will end up being in the game.
What do you think about? I know that you have a lot of thoughts a lot of times on the aesthetics. What do you think about how big the spider on Venom is? The white spider is like Spider-Man's white spider, right?
It's very reminiscent of some of his other designs that like there's a very specific Venom that it reminds me of, which is also in Fortnite, which is or it's similar to the Fortnite one too. It's called it was a character named Lee Price.
Okay.
He was the Venom that was directly after Flash Thompson, and his symbol was very similar to that. The only difference is he had a white stripe going on his arms as well.
Okay.
So that was also pretty cool. So it reminds me of that, and there's a Fortnite version of Venom that has a symbol that's kind of similar to that too. And I think I've also seen something like it in Web of Shadows, if I remember correctly. And it's a nice design. I've never really hated the way it ends up looking. It makes it that much more alien.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't just look like a normal spider, or even the way his his other black symbiote symbol looks like. And I think that's really cool because it really sells that he's much different than just Spider-Man kind of thing. If that makes sense.
And what we only got, was it 2 weeks?
Yeah. My
weeks
only
to
issue
Spider-Man?
with Venom in this is I'm never a fan of Venom with toes.
Really?
Yeah, it just weirds me out. It's always weirded me out, and it's just creepy to me.
Like, say you just want it to be like booties, like a foot.
Yeah, like as if he was wearing like a
shoes?
a suit kind of thing.
Okay.
Instead of, he's just like a toe, he's
wearing those toe
borderline.
shoes.
Yeah, he's wearing those toe shoes, or it feels like it's the funny thing it reminds me of is that fucking Simpsons gag where he's like, it's like I'm wearing nothing at all. You're like, stupid sexy Venom.
Well, what's funny about it
It's
was
just creepy. I don't know. The toes always freaked me out whenever they do that with Venom.
what's so funny though is that you mentioned that, and I'm like, I didn't even see his fucking toes. How did you even know that was a fucking thing? Like,
It wasn't from this. It's from like the statue, because the statue like really showed it.
Okay.
And then when I watched the trailer again, I'm like, okay, yeah, they are definitely there. And it's just it always weirds me out because it creeps me out when Venom has them like that.
Okay.
I don't know. It just feels wrong. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know what you mean actually, but I support. I'll fight to the death your right to have opinions about Venom's toes.
I'm just saying it's weird. It's just weird.
Yeah. Let's see. We also got some crazy Call of Duty trailers. We got 2 Call of Duty trailers. There was a big Call of Duty Next Fest something.
Okay.
I tried watching it and I couldn't because it sucked.
Was it all about Spawn?
It was all about Call of Duty. I don't care enough. It was like 2.5 hours of Call of Duty. I don't care that much about Call of Duty.
That's true.
This is, I was actually thinking this is just like, your typical Call of Duty multiplayer trailer where everybody is, it makes the game look so fun and cool, even though like that's not what it feels like to play because
every single time you see a trailer like a game like this, it makes it look like this really exciting exploding war zone with vehicles driving all around you.
Yep.
Like this Battlefront, like all of them make you think it's going to be this, fucking adrenaline ass thing, but in real life you're crouched in a corner being like, is that a guy? I think that's a guy, and then you're dead.
Yeah, I was actually somebody wrote I was reading like a little op-ed piece about how somebody complaining about, because they had this event, they were showing off Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer and talking about how they don't like it at this point because they added back in the map with the red dots on it where people are shooting. They added back in slide canceling and bunny hopping, and they upped the speed that people can go to. And so it's like that, you watch actual people play Call of Duty and they're just like, run, slide, jump, fucking go through it. Like, it doesn't look like a normal person.
No, yeah. They're doing like parkour basically.
Yeah, and it looks vaguely ridiculous for a guy in military outfit to be doing this level of ridiculousness. So
just once I would like to watch a Twitch stream where the multiplayer actually feels like this is what's happening.
Yeah.
I just want to see what that would be like from a first person's perspective the whole way through.
I watched this trailer and went, man, I wonder how much people get paid to make these trailers, because I could make these fucking trailers. Like,
I don't know. I'm curious about that too, because there's so many things that are happening that you're like, there's no way all of this would be happening in a single match.
Well, you're missing, because you didn't see this. You're missing the background song that all the explosions are like set to the percussion of, the way that they do that in the trailers. Yeah, it's cool.
Is it like a slowed down song?
No, it's like I think it's an Eminem song. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised. That sounds like something they would let them do.
Yeah. I'm not sure. They also had a zombies trailer that showed kind of the open world zombies.
This showed up in my feed, actually.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about it until this popped up.
Sure looks like Call of Duty zombies, if you ask me.
Yeah, just in a big open world.
Kind of looks like a really... You know what? It actually, now that I look at it, it actually looks worse than Call of Duty zombies because it's an open world. It looks like a generic... Like if you told me that this was like, it's a new game from the producers of Dead Rising, but we're making it for PlayStation now, so we filed the serial numbers off. Like it looks like a State of Decay 5 or
like that World War Z game.
Yeah,
like it kind of reminds you of that.
It's the cyber expansion for World War Z. It's the Walking Dead War Brigade or something like. I don't know. It just doesn't really appeal very much.
There a lot of the charm was the different type of characters and stuff in the game, the game mode, and all the things you had to do. And I feel like that charm just kept slowly getting eroded, and it's just now gone.
Yeah, where's Ronald Reagan?
Yeah.
Where's Fidel Castro?
Where's Richard Nixon? Or whatever. I forgot who else. They all like were weird fucking characters. So that shit was great.
Yeah. Or even like the kind of the weird like throwback like. What was it, like a 1930s adventurer type of thing that they had on one of them?
I love the space one, not because I played the space one. I love the space one because whenever you were playing, there was this one specific cosmonaut zombie that would show up.
Yeah,
and it would have the gamer tag name of one of the people on your friends list.
Oh,
and so I remember I was playing Spider-Man, and my friends were all playing that because I wasn't very good at it. And they were like, Mike, you're here. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because it turns out they had my name as the zombie cosmonaut.
Nice.
So it's pretty funny.
Let's see. We got a launch trailer for Assassin's Creed Mirage. This I'll have finally recorded by the time this comes out, but I haven't yet played it. So here's a weird thing, Michael. When I watch this trailer, I think I finally narrowed it down. I think everything in this looks pretty good, except for people's eyes. There's something wrong with the eyes in this engine where they all look dead. And fortunately, Basim spends most of this with like his thing down over his face, but all the eyes just look dead. Like they look super mannequin dead.
You see the cold, lifeless eyes in Charlie Sheen's face.
I mean, look at them. They just look like they're old. They're like PlayStation 3 dead, right?
Yeah.
Like it used to be acceptable. It's no longer acceptable. Everything else I think actually doesn't look too bad, but it's just like their weird dead eyes are freaking me out.
It's fair, but that's a lot of games. Dead eyes can really make things worse. Like Bethesda games are real bad about that.
It's maybe that they're too white. That like the whites of their eyes are too white, and every time you see somebody looking, it's like they're like. It's like they're a background character in Starfield wandering past you or something like.
That's the thing a lot of people don't think about when they look at a person is that they don't really see a lot of whites in their eyes.
Yeah.
That's why that line, shoot them until you see the whites of their eyes is so like they're up in your face at that point.
Right.
Because you're not supposed to see the whites of their eyes that far away.
But like I like this part where you can't see anybody's faces and it's just him like hitting people, and whenever time they show him with the hood down, I think it looks all right. But then like every time you have to look at an actual person in the face, it's like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you?
Or maybe the game's different. I don't know. We'll see how it is. It's out now, so
yep.
I'm sure people are enjoying it now.
I don't know. Seems like a big split. I listened to Triple Click this week, and Jason Schreier was playing it, and he was like, I hate it. Like they made it so that it doesn't, like they took all of the like quote unquote combat improvements from the like Mirage and Valhalla and Origins, and then they got rid of them, and I'm like, did they? Hooray! I'm so
That sounds
happy.
awesome. Can I like stand in an area where I just counter everybody to the death again? Because I'd love to do that again.
Oh my god, yes.
That was a lot of. I remember that mission of Brotherhood. There, it's like run away, and I just stood there. For 30 minutes. And killed. And by the time it was done,
heaps and heaps.
It took me another 30 minutes to get through everybody to get all their money. And I just walked away.
We got 2 trailers. We're going to roll these into one trailer for Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash. And these were actually for like the PS5 versions. I think the last time we saw this was the Switch version. And it just kind of laid out some of the characters. I mean, these are... The first part was characters that we already knew. Itadori and Goto and What's-Her-Face and that guy, Megumi. I think I had a girl's name, but I couldn't remember what it was.
I don't know.
This is a very weird one where I feel like they keep showing off, like, because it's just an arena fighter. It's a 2v2 arena fighter.
Yeah.
But the power levels in this universe are way different. So the idea that these people would be fighting and that they wouldn't just immediately get killed. But then I want to know, like, is there a story mode, or is this like the My Hero Academia one where there's just like scenarios where you end up playing as characters, or like
it might, well, because the My Hero one had like it was still technically a story mode. It's just that they were the scenarios within the story. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case here again too.
Because I like the way that the characters look. I just want to know more. They just keep showing people exploding other people, and I'm like, no. I mean, I get that. I get that this game is going to be exploding people. Oh, whoa! They also have Sukuna, which I think is really weird. He's the the devil, like the curse king, the curse lord that's living inside of the main character, and like in the anime, he's ridiculously powerful, like incredibly powerful. Like there's a few times where other curses will try to invade the main character, and then they find the Curse Lord like sitting inside of his rib cage, and he just fucking pulverizes them. So,
jeez.
But then they also had a second one where they showed off some of the characters that show up in the kind of the tournament arc, the senior class of the Jujutsu Kaisen. So that's fucking Maki and what's his face, the speech guy. I'm waiting for him to come up. Toge and Panda. Toge is weird. He can't say regular words because he's got cursed like speech.
Okay.
And so what he'll do is if he says like regular words, you have to do them. So he'll say like fall down, and then you fall down, but it's incredibly taxing on his voice. And so normally all he says is sushi ingredients. So he says like salmon, and like that's he says yes by just saying like salmon.
Okay. He's got like a special code that they have to figure out.
Yeah, and it's really weird that he's in this fucking brawler punch.
He's got a lot of supers probably.
Yeah, and then Panda, who is a giant panda who turns into a monkey panda. There you go.
Cool, I guess.
Yep. I want to see more of this game. I would like to see more that is not just people hitting each other. I want to know like what do you do outside of that in this game?
That's fair. Yeah.
Let's see. There was a Realms 3D Realms conference that I didn't go over that got a few interesting trailers. One of them was a new trailer for Spies Never Die, which is the kind of GoldenEye throwback game,
which I think is a great idea. People really like that. Even when I played the re-release for it, I actually had a decent enough time.
Of GoldenEye?
Yeah, especially with the modern controls.
Yeah. I think this is a really fun way to basically, like, we wanted to make a sequel to GoldenEye, and then we just decided to file off the 007 serial numbers and do whatever we felt like it.
700, completely different.
The other thing, I don't know if this has been announced before, but they also showed towards the end that you could play co-op multiplayer.
Oh, good for them.
Split screen. And not just that, but you could also do 4-player multiplayer on the same screen like you used to with GoldenEye.
Nice. What is this? Is this only a PC thing, or what is it on?
Oh, I think it's on consoles. I think it's going to be on consoles, or No, maybe not. I don't know. Let's
It
find
just
out.
says wish list on Steam, so
It's supposed to be on Steam this year. I don't think they've announced anything else yet.
yeah, they're probably working on everything else then.
So, but I would be surprised if it didn't come to other things.
I would be too.
Hey, guess what? Got a sequel with a release date.
That's an interesting one.
Forgive Me, Father. Remember we played that like
We
6
did.
months ago or
Yeah,
something?
quite some time ago.
It
We had
wasn't
enough
that
time
long
with
ago.
We had a decent time with it.
Yeah. This appears to just be more of the same, which is not. I remember that game though being really hard.
It was really difficult. The style on this is a little more detailed than it was on that one. The one that we played, because the one we played, it was like there wasn't as much cell shading on it.
Oh, okay.
Like it was a little closer to the way Duke Nukem 3D would look.
Right.
And this one is like looks more like a graphic novel.
Yeah, I love it. I love the way it looks. I can't wait to play more of it.
Yeah, we had fun with it.
Yeah.
I wonder if it still has the 2-player or the 2 different characters thing.
And that's coming to early access October 19th.
Oh, okay.
So right around the corner. So you're gonna buy a PC, right, to play this, and obviously just skip that Spider-Man nonsense. To play.
Well, I have to beat the first one first.
Oh, okay.
And then maybe play the second one after that.
Speaking of horror shooters, Cultic, the game that Jason and I played on the Asylum last year.
Oh yeah.
That was another kind of boomer shooter. Just got a big expansion.
Oh, that's cool.
Like a new level that got added into it. It got a little bit of a tease, but it's also a free update, so you don't even have to pay for it.
Nice.
And they added in like a riot shield and like some new base guns and stuff, which I enjoyed when I played of Cultic. And you guys have all seen how much I played of Cultic, so it's like 30 minutes.
I need to finish Squirrel Hunter.
Oh, Scroll Stapler?
Yeah, Scroll Stapler. That's the one I actually need to finish.
We got a release date trailer for Stray Souls, which seems like a weird indie. Like it's basically an indie Resident Evil / Silent Hill ripoff.
Oh, okay.
There's like kind of weird looking. I can't tell whether this is going to be good or bad or what. Like
it's one of those games that like you're not really going to be sure until you play its story.
It looks like it could be good. It looks like it could be the next like Deadly Premonition or something. But
I'd be cool with that. Yeah.
I kind of love how generic the main character is.
It really helps.
So generic. Yeah.
As long as the story works out, this game could be pretty fun.
Yeah. It's like a horror game. But you know what's pissy is I was getting ready for the Asylum this year, and I looked at this, and I was like, oh, shit. When's the release date? I've been waiting for this. When's it coming out? October 25th. And I'm like, oh, that's too close. I got to record early.
Damn. Yeah. We can probably squeeze that in at the last minute.
Kill It With Fire 2 is going to have a multiplayer mode.
Oh, that's fun.
So, yeah, now you can go around with other people. Not just that, but there also appears to be a mode where you can transform into a spider. Like if you put the right things in a cauldron, then you could be the spider and try to avoid your friends who are all trying to kill you.
It's a PvP mode.
Yep. Kind of crazy.
I love that. I love that whole concept. It's a game. It's just such a fun, stupid thing.
Yep. And Kill With Fire 2 is coming out next year. Let's see. We also got an expansion for Dredge, the Pale Reach, a new northern kind of icy area for Dredge is actually, I believe, out right now.
Oh, okay.
I think it came out right now. Or no, November 16th.
That's not too far away.
This made me want to go back and like retry Dredge. I really liked my time with it, but it's just one of those things that kind of came out when there was other stuff on my plate. So
that's the issue with a lot of indie games that come out.
Yeah,
just there's too many things.
Too many things indeed. So, Michael, I got a new game for you to play on your MetaQuest 3 when you get it. Power Wash Simulator is getting a VR mode because, of course, it is. It's Power Wash Simulator gets everything.
Yeah. It's also, this is a great idea.
Yep. Actually, I don't know if I agree. Think about it. Having to actually wave my arm back and forth through some of these levels as opposed to just like pushing my mouse left, pushing my mouse right, pushing my mouse left, pushing my mouse right.
Well, because you can do like more stupid drawings, like more specifically.
Yeah.
With dirt.
Yep.
And if you're in that kind of like mood where you're like, I just want to feel like I'm doing this. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
The hard part is getting the reach areas if you don't have enough room to look up, kind of thing.
I'm wondering if when you climb the ladders, do you have to like do it? Do you have to do it with your hands?
That is the trickier part too, is moving around.
Yeah. But yeah, Power Wash Simulator. Power Wash Simulator gets everything, and I'm glad for it. It is one of my favorites, and I love it.
I never expected that game to be as huge as it is, but here we are.
Yep, November 2nd. American Arcadia got a release date. I don't know if you remember this. This is the one where it's like you're playing as like a guy caught in like the Truman Show.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah,
as
it
like
was
a 2D
thing. Yeah,
and then you also play as like a lady that works at the station that is like trying to help you get out of the Truman Show. And that's like in first person, and then the parts with the guy are in second person. I feel like we heard about this, and then we haven't heard anything for quite some time.
Yeah, I remember it being really interested in this whole idea.
Yeah. And it got a trailer, a brand new trailer, and then an actual release date. And it's right around the corner, I think. Where is it? November 15th. So next month.
Nice. Hope it does well, because it's a great idea.
Yeah. I kind of wish they would have. I should spend $115 million on marketing and get people all hyped up for this.
Maybe they will. I don't know.
I put this on the list, but this is really a nothing burger trailer. This RoboCop pre-order trailer.
Yeah, it's mostly just like some stuff that you can get.
Some skins.
Because you can get the skin from when he's got all shut up at the end of the first one.
Yep, like a prototype gun,
a shotgun, and then does this also mention the RoboCop 2 skin?
I think so.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, the RoboCop 2 one is more blue.
Yep.
And a pitch black version of the gun.
Yep. I mean, okay.
It's the Alex Murphy edition is what, and it lets you play it at the end of the year, at the end of the month instead of the beginning of November.
Oh, okay.
If I remember correctly.
I want the Clarence Boddicker edition. It just comes with a lot of cocaine. That's all.
Comes with a lot of cocaine, some burn cash.
Yep.
And a bobby you can throw out.
Oh my god! What if it had a little keychain with a button that just says "bitches leave"?
I'd buy that. I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to pre-order the Alex Murphy edition or just wait for my physical one, because there's not a physical version of the Alex Murphy edition.
Oh,
that's a pain in the ass.
Wait, you've already ordered a collector's edition?
No, just because there's only the normal one on that's physical, but there's no like way to order the Alex Murphy edition, which is the one that comes with all the other stuff.
Okay.
And so I'm like, is there a way of getting that physically? Because if not, I'm gonna have to just fuck it and buy the digital one.
The Front Mission remake is coming to consoles.
Oh, okay.
So it was out on the Switch, it came out on the PC, and now it is coming to consoles. This is actually, I think the second one is coming out on the Switch not too long from now. But yeah, there's a trailer for it. It's a Front Mission game, all right, and that's coming December 5th. So
nice.
Mark your calendar. Hasn't been heard of in a while, but apparently that Kingpin remake...
Oh, yeah,
it was like announced like in like 2019 or something.
Yeah.
Is still happening.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Look at that.
I really don't know why, because Kingpin is a bad video game.
No, it's not well remembered.
Like, I don't know why they're doing this. Like, it doesn't make any sense
because they can't do Duke Nukem ones anymore.
The
3D Realms is running out of ideas.
Yeah. The combat was awful. The voice acting was terrible.
It was not a good game.
Apparently, like, what was it? They had the soundtrack was done by Cypress Hill did the soundtrack.
Oh, I forgot about that.
For Kingpin.
My favorite thing is the enhanced doesn't look that much better.
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't look that much better. But yeah, now it's called Kingpin Reloaded, and it's coming on December 5th. Don't buy it and don't play it.
What a weird fucking thing.
Don't buy it and don't play it. It sucks. It's bad. Hitman Blood Money is getting another release called Reprisal. This is going to be on iOS and Android and the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, that's cool. Good for them.
So, yeah.
Blood Money is a very popular game.
Yes. I never cared for it as much as other people do, but...
I think it's really when the series really took off, was that one.
Yeah. Did you see that they're putting for the 25th anniversary? They're putting the Hitman 1 skin in Hitman in the new one.
Really?
Or Assassination Trilogy. So it's like literally, it's like you remember in Metal Gear when you play with the PS1 Snake. It's like that, but it's like the janky old looking version of 47.
I love that.
But
That's such a fun idea.
Just in the world. So yeah.
Can it still change outfits?
Well, no, it's just like it is an outfit.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. Yeah, how does that work?
Here, this is what it looks like. It is an outfit for the world of assassination that just makes you look like the janky.
That's amazing.
The janky old version.
I love that so much.
47. I may have to reinstall the game in order to log in and get the jank ass 47 suit.
His face looks so different to what it is now.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like he looks like younger, right?
Yeah.
Like a young 47. He was just a baby.
Well, his nose is also like, I feel bigger, and his face is lower down, I guess.
Yeah.
I know, it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
If you guys see it, you'll know exactly what I mean.
Jank. Bethesda just put out an Elder Scrolls game.
Ooh.
It's basically Fallout Shelter, but for Elder Scrolls.
Oh, that's bad.
It's on iOS beta, or no, it's on Android beta right now. And apparently it is like Fallout Shelter, but it's a little bit more than just that. Like,
okay.
You're not as constrained to like the specific shelter model, and then it also has little like kind of Reigns style like choices that you make as the king, and even little kind of like little action sequences and stuff like that. So,
okay, that's fun.
Yeah. Apparently, right now it's kind of rules because the monetization isn't turned on because it's in beta, and so
you just it's just a normal
fun.
game,
just a normal video game. Have some fun,
and then it's going to turn into what it's going to be, and everyone's going to hate it.
Yep. Here's some news that I was really interested in. Dusk is getting an HD re-release, or like an up-res texture pack. Not even up-res. These are redone. So apparently the guy that made Dusk, like in the modding community, there was a guy that was making like super high-res versions of the guns on Steam Workshop, so that you could get like these really high-resolution versions of the weaponry.
Oh wow.
And so he just hired him. He just like had him come in and interviewed him, and then he was like, okay, now just do the whole game. Do the entire game. So like the entire game has had all of its textures like boosted and sharpened.
Shit like that, because the people who are the best at doing these are the ones who already have a big fondness of this sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. This is interesting because I've been looking for an excuse to play all the way through Dusk for RageSelect, but I don't know if people want to watch that, because it's kind of like 60 frames per second first person. That style of game can sometimes, I think, be a little vomit inducing to watch. So I don't know, but there's going to be a full trailer release in October. And it looks good. Let's see. That was garbage. This one was for you, Michael. Have you heard of this?
No, I've not actually.
So Polygon apparently has this as a thing you can buy, Like a Hurricane, which is a $40 hardcover oral history of Street Fighter 2.
Oh wow!
That you can get from their shop, and they are also selling a vinyl, like a record that has some original stuff, and that is $30, but you get $20 off if you order both of them, so you can get both of them for $50.
Oh, okay.
Which is like kind of a reasonable amount of money to spend on something like that.
A book and a vinyl at the same time. It's not bad at all.
I wonder if you could find out if there are any like reviews of that book.
I'm sure there are eventually, but I don't know if there's any at the moment. Yeah. I don't know how many book reviews are still out there. I know you guys are out there. I just don't know how to find you.
And then let's wrap it up with some fun stuff. Michael, have you ever wanted a PC that looks like a sneaker?
No.
Well,
I wanted that Optimus Prime, though, that looks like a sneaker.
This is really interesting because Cooler Master is making this. It's called the Cooler Master Sneaker X. This thing is $3,800.
Oh my god!
And like, I just can't imagine. Like, it's got like a 40 series GPU in it, and it looks kind of cool, but nah, man.
Yeah, bro. Also, that thing isn't going to be the size of a sneaker.
Yep.
I think it's just going to be a giant ass sneaker next to your monitor.
Yeah. This is really weird. There's a new trailer out there for yet another Pokemon spin-off thing. And this is like a Japanese drama show about a young woman who kind of never fell out of love with the Game Boy version of Pokemon and like keeps playing it into adulthood, but then like she's working for like an advertising firm and she's finding love and going on adventures and all whilst playing like original Game Boy Pokemon Red.
That's really cool.
Which is very weird. There's no subtitles for this trailer.
Charmander design. I haven't seen that in years.
So I'm not entirely sure what's happening in this trailer. I do know there's one part where like her boss shows up as like the gym leader in like the Pokemon screen that she's looking at.
Oh, that's fun.
But it takes place in our world because there's literally like a relative or something that has like a Switch that's playing like the Switch version of Pokemon. So I don't know what the hell is going on here, but this is like the 6th Pokemon thing I've seen this year. And it's really weird that it looks like a drama. It's like Ally McBeal with Pokemon in Japan or something.
I kind of love that idea though. That's a fun idea.
Yeah. I also have, again, no idea what's going on in this trailer because there are no English subtitles.
The fucking link cable in the Game Boys. I still have my link cable somewhere because I had the original Game Boy link cable to play Tetris of all things with my brother and my cousins.
So hoping that comes to America, or I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it's really boring.
It might end up on Netflix with subtitles. Who knows?
I have the weirdest sequel in the world, Michael. I don't know if you saw this, but do you remember the trailer for Tears of the Kingdom that had the sad businessman?
Oh, yeah. No, I remember that one, yeah. Because there were so many memes about it because it was so funny.
Yes. Well, apparently Nintendo made a sequel to that where like sad businessman now has a girlfriend like who's sitting on the couch playing.
Good for him.
He's like he's still bad at the game. He's still trying to figure out how to play the game, and then his girlfriend is telling him like maybe try this, and he's like, oh yeah. There's like 2 lines of dialogue in the entire thing, and then like later on she goes to bed and he comes back to the couch to play more, and then she sits down on the couch next to him with like an OLED Switch also playing Tears of the Kingdom, and she appears to be way better at it than he is. Like she's doing the same puzzle, but she made a ramp and then she's gliding to the end zone. And
I completely endorse this fucking sequel.
This weird drama.
Because what happened was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Of people just being like, this guy was minutes away from shooting himself.
Right.
Only for Zelda to save his life kind of thing. Like that, the meme was just like, this is really weird. Like,
yeah. It was a very weird commercial.
It was, I love everything about how insane this is to me.
Yep.
Oh my God.
And now finally we've got the good conclusion.
We got the good ending.
I'm wondering. I guess they're not going to put out any expansions for that one, or else I was like, maybe we can get a 3rd part.
Well, they'll get one whenever they make the sequel. Whatever. It's him and his family.
Yeah.
He has a kid now or whatever.
Yeah. Maybe it's him old and he can't play anymore, and he's also sad, but then like his kids could play now or something.
That would be really funny.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that so much. Holy shit.
Sad dad got a sequel.
This marriage is doing better.
And then last but not least, we did get the teaser for Lego Animal Crossing. That pretty much just shows a bunch of little minifigs, including a minifig Tom Nook.
I laughed at a tweet about this because they said if this came out at the right time, people would have been shanking each other for very specific characters.
Oh, yes. Very much so. Yeah. So the Animal Crossing sets are going to range from $15 to $75, which, considering how goddamn expensive Legos are these days, that's not too bad.
No, it's not. The 15 one's probably not all that. It's probably just like a small house or maybe a small area or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you go, Lego heads.
And I'm happy that they're normal ass Legos is the other thing.
Yeah.
They're not like, we added fucking machinery so it can be like, you owe me money on it or something.
That's it, Michael.
Yes. It's how much time over are we?
Oh, like 15 minutes?
Okay, that's not too bad. That's not bad. We've done worse.
I cut a lot of stories from the second part. I'm sorry that we went on for so long in the first part.
We did add some stuff, though.
First part kind of bummed me out, man.
Oh, it's a super big bummer.
It's just a big bummer.
It sucks because I'm friends with at least 3 or 4 people in the gaming industry now.
Yeah.
That are game developers, and I have to see them just react to this constantly.
Yeah.
They're just they're like worried about it, sort of thing, and it sucks because I want them to succeed in an environment that isn't like at any moment somebody's gonna fuck up and then they're gonna pay for it.
Right.
Thing.
Just so volatile.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like it's still the Wild West in these gaming industries. They're not as centralized as movies are.
Yeah.
Like so that.
Again, it's not even like movies are doing great right now.
Yeah.
Right. Like the last 3 big summer blockbusters just like flopped.
Even Tom Cruise's movie didn't do as well as they thought it would because they didn't do.
Oh, Mission Impossible.
Yeah, it did okay. It just didn't do gangbusters like they thought it was.
I really wish that somebody would like grab them by the lapels and make them learn the right lessons. Where they're just like, listen, guys, Indiana Jones failed. Okay, like, please, like. Understand that. Understand what it means for the world.
So you want more superheroes is what I'm hearing.
No! Like, I can't tell you how disappointing and dismaying it is when it's like, wow, Barbie did super good. It's like, great, we've learned our lesson. Now we're going to monetize all the HBO stuff and give it to weird indie lady directors. Fucking Lena Dunham is going to make Polly Pocket. It's like, wait, what? That wasn't the lesson.
That's not the lesson.
That wasn't the lesson.
Never the lesson. The lesson wasn't to add Harrison Ford to the MCU.
Right.
The lesson was to stop making terrible movies with Harrison Ford.
Yep. All right, Michael, tell them where they can find terrible movies with Harrison Ford.
You can find them on oneofus.net. We usually do reviews on them.
Yeah.
He actually, although he's pretty good in that shrinking show. I haven't seen that, but I haven't seen it myself.
With, what's his
Jason Segel.
Jason Segel.
I like those guys though.
I like the actors, but I kept looking at that show going like, there's just no way I'm going to stick with this man. Like,
I don't have Apple TV, so that's why I never watched it. But I watched all of Myth Force. Or Mythic Quest. Sorry, Myth Force is that game that we played. The game was not good.
You played all of Myth Force?
Yeah.
Were you the one?
No, we watched.
Shit.
I watched all of Mythic Quest that was out at the time, but Myth Force was not very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find us on oneofus.net. Do the reviews there, and sometimes.
Yep.
I don't have any at the moment, so at least nothing that I haven't already mentioned before.
Okay. Also, I don't know. Go to Patreon. You'll find me. That's cool. You already know. If you're listening to this thing, you've heard it enough times. You already know where to go. I don't even have to tell you at this point.
That's true.
Ooh, Patreon. All right. I'm gonna go lay down. I need to lay down. I think I might need a Snickers or something. Like, I gotta get out of here. Bye. Get out of here.